This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Yeah. Big O, we told you we ain't playing no games, man. It's just surely probably Pablo, Culture, Lord Productions.
Good morning, South Florida.
This is the Big O Show.
You're tuned into the Big O Show.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Yo, you tuned in to the hottest sports radio show with Orlando, a.k.a. the Big O. He covers all the South Florida teams, from the Dolphins to the Heat, well, you know what I mean. Monday to Friday, Friday Pablo in the Big O Show. Oh, on the radio, the top's where we gonna go. Miami, that's the way we roll. Locked on the morning show, we go. No one has a similar show. Talk sports, talk plays, talk live and direct. Because nobody do it better than Big O in the set. From sunrise, listen live, it's the best of the best. He's got the fans, got the heat, he's the best of the best. Big O, the only talking sports with a style.
Break it a morning, it's Big O-N. Thank you for tuning in, keeping you glued in. Stay tuned, because right here's where the woman's in. Same place, because right here some of them begin. Simply call and just state your opinion. Real talk, sports talks, the Big O Show. Yeah, you love it, yeah, you like it, call him and let him know.
Culture, probably Pablo, now introducing the man of the hour, Big O, a.k.a. Orlando Alcigarin. Yeah.
We are ready to rock. It is 11 a.m. And where are you? Hopefully you'll be here at Toyota of Hollywood, because that's where we're going to be for the next couple of hours, having some fun, rocking and rolling, of course, taking your questions, your comments, and talking about a whole bunch of things. And it's nice to be able to just talk about sports now, and there's all these sports going on. And I'm watching a doubleheader yesterday. The funny part was, in the second game, in the first game, I was well aware of it, right? In the second game, I got caught up with it. And when they got the third out in the seventh inning, I was like, okay, two more. Oh, wait, the game's over. It's just like, I thought, okay, we got to hang on for two more. No, wait, the game's over. That's right. Yeah, 7 innings. For a moment there, I mean, that's how it went yesterday, and it was a hell of a night last night, because I don't know how many of you watched the Portland-Philadelphia game. That thing had an awesome ending. I thought Philadelphia got jobbed, by the way, on that offsides. We had some basketball last night. We had hockey during the day. The Panthers actually won, which was great. I mean, it's a lot of fun now when you're able to actually talk about sports, right? For months, we were just talking about having sports back. How's it going to be? What's going to go on? And look, I don't know how long this is going to last. Baseball, I'm terrified for, because they're not in a bubble. Hockey, I mean, the Panthers just extended their stay for a game. I would imagine they're going to lose tomorrow. I would love to see them win and extend it to the 5th game at least. That would be nice. I'd like for them to actually keep winning, but I don't have a lot of hope for them, so that's going to end. And I'll keep watching the hockey playoffs, because, this isn't the playoffs. These are playing games is what they're called. It's not really even the playoffs. But once the playoffs start, I will always watch it, because the hockey playoffs are the best playoffs. They are just so intense and usually just thrilling finishes almost all the time. So I will definitely be watching. I just wish the Panthers would be a bigger part of it, unfortunately. You know what I mean? But it is so nice to be able to, okay, I could talk about anything right now. You know what I mean? And now we've got football on the horizon. And again, I don't know how long that's going to last either. But it's just nice to at least be able to talk about actual sports. And, it's funny, because you know how football was able to gauge for a while here how soccer was going to react, how basketball, how hockey, and then now they're going to implement their plans, and we'll see what happens. But it's interesting because, when the NBA looks at this, Bill, they're going to now be able to look at football and say, well, we're really successful with the bubble. If the pandemic continues, okay, and yesterday, we had another large number of deaths. Unfortunately, we had 245, I think it was, in our state alone. So if the death rate continues the way it is right now, which is terrible, which we're going over 1,000 deaths every single day now, then the NBA might say, well, look at all the trouble that baseball's having. Look at all the trouble football's having. Gentlemen, if we want to do this again, we're going to have to do it from the beginning in the bubble. And then we will adjust accordingly if we can get out of the pandemic and we have a vaccine and all of that. So it's interesting how the roles may be reversed, where the NFL was the sport that could buy itself some time by watching others implement theirs, and now we're going to see if football can actually survive. Today at 4:00 is the deadline for guys to opt out. So we'll find out how many more guys are going to opt out, how many big names are going to opt out. But basketball now, and the players and the owners are going to have a little time to look at how football and baseball, and if the virus destroys their seasons, they're going to look at it and say, well, guess what? Now we saw what the guinea pigs are. We need to go, hey, we got to go bubbling again. If we want to do this, we got to go bubbling. And the good thing for the NBA is now that you've done it once, you can now do it again, and maybe you can even tweak it and make it even better. But what you can guarantee yourself is what? A season. You know what I mean? So the roles might start getting reversed here, over the next couple of months. And when the NBA, and remember, that's the good thing for us sports fans. The NBA season's coming, like, quickly. Like, we'll have the playoffs, and it'll be a really short off season. So we won't be talking for a long time about what about the next step. No, the next NBA season is right on us. You know what I mean? So that's going to be really cool that we're going to get our NBA season right away, and then our NHL season. And, the NHL, they don't have the luxury of the NFL and the NBA. They don't make that kind of money. So if this bubble works for them and they see where the pandemic is going and it's still going on, and, of course, the Canadian teams, actually Canada, I shouldn't say Canadian teams, Canada will not be very receptive to accepting individuals from other places that, could be bringing the virus. You know what I'm saying? So I think this is an issue that eventually it'll all work out. Don't get me wrong. But it's funny how the NBA now will have their opportunity to see, okay, we saw ours worked, and if we stay away from the bubble, what will be the effects? And we're going to find out if football and baseball are able to figure it out, because look at Tampa Bay. We talked about it yesterday. They're already looking at doing their own bubble now. So they're trying to mimic a little bit, because it's interesting that the players have come to the agreement themselves that the bubble might be the better way instead of the way the NFL is doing it.
Look, if the bubble works, the other thing that helps.
No. The bubble works.
So far,
No, the bubble works. I do.
Stay within.
That's the bubble. And that's what I'm saying. The bubble works. Soccer, hockey, and basketball are having no problems. Only one guy ventured out to a strip club. That's it. And that was just pure stupidity.
And he didn't even bring it back.
Luckily. And wait a minute. He wouldn't have been able to bring it back, bro. They sequestered his ass.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So the bubble system is foolproof, pretty much.
So far.
I mean,
so far.
Dude, it's 3 sports. It's thousands and thousands and thousands of tests. You control the environment. You control the sport. You're good.
You know what would help? If this does, like signed, sealed, delivered, no issues. You won't have opt-outs.
Right.
Unless you don't want to go
Amen.
to the bubble.
Right.
There won't be that risk. It's either you're okay with being locked down or you're not.
Right.
It's not about the possibility of getting this.
Right. It's and so that's where this whole thing, the tide is going to end up turning now. You know, as the NFL was able to use everybody else as guinea pigs, now the NBA and the NHL are going to be able to use baseball and football as guinea pigs because they're going to say, okay, well, look at life without a bubble and look how disastrous it is. Now we got to go back to the bubble. You know what I mean? Hey, look, schools are they're coming to their senses. A lot of them are like, hey, we're going online. Because it doesn't make sense, man. I mean, they just out of Georgia.
There are going to be some idiots that are going to try. And
Georgia,
push.
they just did a school where a second grader came in with corona, and now they have to sequester the kids and the teacher and all that. There's another school where it's like 100 kids that have to be now, and
talking about disinfecting everything.
I mean,
can you imagine?
It's ridiculous, dude. It's ridiculous. Every teacher should be online this year. You know what I'm saying? It's just the way it should be right now because it's too dangerous to do it the other way. But it's interesting that how everything has worked out in the bubble, and now the NBA is going to be able to – they're going to play the guinea pig. They're going to use the NFL as the guinea pigs now, and that's what we're going to find out over the next couple of months. And then the experience for players in the bubble. You know what I mean? Like the Panthers don't count because – they went to the bubble for a couple of weeks and then they're out. I mean, that was like they went like on an extended cruise. I've been on those 7-day cruises, so they were a couple of extra weeks and then they got off. But
hold out a little hope, man.
I have no hope for the Panthers.
Oh man,
I lost hope in the Panthers a long time ago. It's just not they're just not good enough.
Will you be a little bit on the Rudy side if we win the next game?
Oh no,
push it to 5.
No, I was rooting yesterday. I'm going to be rooting tomorrow.
You're going to be rooting again. But.
Yeah, I'm going to be rooting, and if they somehow get to Game 5, I'll be crazy rooting for them to advance. Even though I know they're not much, but I would love it. Nothing would make me happier than the Panthers winning.
But until they actually win the series, you're not all in.
No, I'm not all in at all. Even if they win this series and they actually get to the playoffs, they're not going to do anything. I don't really have any hope for. I just because I love them, I have to be a realist. They're just not. They're
on borrowed time, and it's just a matter of time.
Yeah. I mean, yesterday was like, wow, great, they won. They extended their season for one more game. Is basically the way I'm looking at it. They got to do a lot to prove me. They got to get like a deep run into the playoffs, to like, okay, you guys are doing something. You guys are advancing. I am wrong. You know what I mean? Just making the playoffs for these. I said this at the beginning of the year. Making the playoffs is not an accomplishment for this group. Now, we're way past those things. That's an accomplishment for this young Heat team, making the playoffs. Not only did they make the playoffs, they're a top 4 seed. Okay, so not only did they reach expectations, they exceeded expectations, and they're a top 4 seed right now. Panthers can't even make the playoffs. And a group like this should be already a perennial playoff team, and they're not. So it's really more of an indictment on Barkov and Huberdeau and Ekblad and that group, and that they're led by those guys. Okay, and so the fact that they haven't gotten anywhere, that's on them, dude. So no, yeah, I'll be rooting for them, but I'm realistic that, they are what they are. I can't look at them any other way, unfortunately. That's what sucks. But they won yesterday, 3-2. Islanders have a 2-1 lead. Tomorrow at noon, since, the Panthers aren't sexy, they'll always use them at noon and kind of get them out of the way and move on the schedule. So they'll play another noon game tomorrow. We'll be over at Craig's Inn Acura, hanging out doing our show. So we'll be watching that one at the same time, and hopefully they can actually pull off the upsets.
The way you say it, it's almost like the NHL is all how far can we get the Panthers away from prime time?
Yeah, no, that's
how far can we push them into 10 o'clock in the morning?
Why would anybody want to see them outside of us? Nobody really wants to see them, and the Islanders aren't necessarily sexy either. You know, they're better than the Panthers.
Don't say that to an Islander fan, man.
Yeah, but nationally is what I'm saying. But yes, I get it. Mike No-Go Zones now is probably pissed. But he's laughing anyway because his Islanders.
Well, 35, 40 years ago, I would have been pissed.
Right. That's when when the Islanders were the Islanders. Yeah, that's a whole different ball game. We got the Heat tonight against the Bucks, or this afternoon at 4:00. I'm afraid that again we saw the way they rested the guys against the Nets. I'm afraid that this is one of those games that they're just going to be pacing themselves. So I'm not really expecting a good matchup here. In other words, we can be happy about the first two wins, and especially the first one. Remember, it was without Butler. Remember that? They beat them in overtime. What was it? I remember I wrote this down. October 26th, 131-126 in overtime. And that if I remember correctly, Kendrick Nunn went crazy in that game, I think. But bottom line is they beat them without Butler in that game. And so those two games, you can actually enjoy those two games. Today, I don't know if we can actually look at this win if they win today. Actually, if they lose, you might be a little disappointed because there will be very little of Giannis. And that's what I'm expecting, that he'll be playing a ton today. And that kind of takes away from this matchup, unfortunately, you know. So that's the only thing that I'm a little concerned about for today. That this game won't be as sweet as we kind of want.
Well, there's no need, bottom line, because COVID has eliminated home field advantage. There is, you know, other than in baseball, you getting last stops. That's it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. No, you're right. And so that's why. Today, it's just one of those where it's a conditioning game, I guess, for the Miami Heat. Get guys in shape. Jimmy didn't play the other game. He'll play today, hopefully, with the foot. If is what to expect. Now, what you definitely got to talk about is what's developing into baseball. Marlins, powered by COVID. I mean, this is amazing. They lose 17 of their 30 guys. Up a bunch of guys that are younger guys from their minors. They got to sign a couple of guys off the street. Mike Hill had to kind of, scotch tape and Elmer's glue and put everything together here. And Mattingly has pushed all the right buttons, and guys made plays when they had to, hit bombs when they had to, force a grounder, a double play when they have to get out of an inning like they did yesterday. I think it was with Blyer on the mound, and I got a little nervous, but they were able to get out of it. All these things, everything's gone their way, and they're 5-1. And look, I don't want to hear about their opponents because the Marlins are younger than everybody else. Okay? And they probably have less talent than everybody else. All right? So the fact that they're 5-1, I am not daring to bring up the opponent. I think that's insulting to the Marlins at this point. Look, do I think they're going to contend for anything? Probably not. But man, it's a fun story. And baseball is a weird thing, dude. It's a dynamic that sometimes you cannot explain. And the 03 Marlins were a perfect example. Now, again, we've had this conversation. Those young guys were way more mature, more developed. We cannot compare the two. But we've seen strange things like that happen in baseball. And it's just pretty cool. Hey, they're going by winning percentage when it's all said and done. If everybody doesn't get to play their 60 games, and the Marlins are one of those where right now, winning percentage is pretty damn sweet at 5-1. And you got a shot at sweeping the Orioles today in a 4-game sweep. And that's super impressive for the Marlins if they're able to do that. again, I just enjoy it, man. They're pitching well. They're playing defense. They're getting timely hits. Brian Anderson yesterday with a big-ass home run. They won the first game 1-0. Solo shot by Brian Anderson. The second game, they won 2-1. Anderson again and Aguilar with the RBIs in that game. 5 Marlins pitchers throw a 4-hit, 1 earned run, 7K outing yesterday. I mean, I can't say. Eliezer Hernandez went 4 1/3 yesterday, 2 hits, 5 Ks. Kid threw 43 strikes out of 66 pitches. Kid pitched well, man, and it was the bullpen, which by the way, the bullpen has been ravaged by COVID. A lot of the guys that are out are part of the bullpen, and the bullpen has been enormous in these games, and they're winning close games too, 1-0, 2-1. So they're in tight situations where they can't make a lot of mistakes, and they're not making mistakes. And for a young team, again, I mean, I watched every pitch, every inning yesterday of both games, and I got to tell you, man, it just becomes more and more compelling as you watch them win, and 5-1, and the COVID stuff, the setbacks, how young they are, all of that stuff. I just find
back and forth.
a lot of
The
fun.
Yankees were
They lost
in the
yesterday.
same deal, but with 2 games, Marlins only give up 1.
Expected whatsoever. And enjoy it. And look, after months of no sports, it's really nice to kick back. That's what I was sitting back going, man, I'm so spoiled. I'm watching the Philly-Portland game, and it was a great, great, great finish. I mean, they're up 2-0, you think, and they almost scored 3-0. If Elliott doesn't get that block, that deflection in the goal mouth, and clears that ball, it's 3-0 Portland, and you can write it off. And then Philly scores, and then they should have given them that second goal, and it should have been 2-2, and they called it offsides in the box. I just thought it was kind of a cheesy call. I'm watching that. I'm watching baseball. I'm watching basketball. I'm watching hockey. I am in heaven yesterday, being able to watch all of that, man. It just was a lot of fun, and it started while we were on the air with the hockey game, and then it rolled over into the afternoon and started watching basketball and baseball and everything else and soccer, and it was just a lot of fun, man. I mean, after months, we started this podcast last September, really, late August, but first couple months, obviously, we had sports going on. But then the pandemic hit, and now we haven't had sports in so long. And it's been frustrating that it's COVID talk, it's politics, because obviously everything that's gone on with social injustice and the politics have crossed over with sports like it does so many times. Not that you don't want to address those things, not that you want to avoid them, because you want to be a part of that conversation too, but that's not what this show is about. This show's about sports, and
There was none.
Get away from all that stuff. That's kind of what you guys come here for. That's what I want to do. You know what I mean? But when there's nothing to talk about, then it bleeds into one into the other, and it's just nice to be able to sit back and actually talk about what's going on. and everything about the Marlins right now, it just tells you great story. Great story. Enjoy the ride, man.
Go look at the standings. They officially have us in first by a half a game over the Braves. Let me just say, baseball has been very, very good to Bill because I've got first place Yankees and first place Marlins.
Yeah, good
May
stuff.
it stay this way till September 27th.
Well, let's see what happens, man. It's gonna be a lot of fun. A little roll call. Julius 305 was the first one in the house. Thank you, sir. We are here, Julius. We are ready to rock, baby. There you go.
Big O's ready to open doors and not touch.
That's it. That's it right there. So on my keychain, do I have too much already? Because I have my ear. I don't even know when I'll use these again for a concert.
What are you calling that contraption?
I don't know. It's
The
like
poker? Because you can poke stuff, you know?
Oh, this thing? I have
Yeah.
no idea what it's called. Whoa. I have
Are you
no idea
losing
what
your
it's
ear?
called. But these are my earpieces. If they can come out. Damn. Hasn't been, see, they've been stuck in there for months since the UFO concert, and they're squeezed in there, and I can't even get to them. In there, they're bunched up in there, I guess. But my earpieces.
They don't
want
to come out because they haven't come out in so long. They're like, you forgot about us.
Yeah, you forgot about us. I got my nitro, so if I have a heart attack, you unscrew. So there you go, crazy keychains with all kinds of stuff. Robert Triana is in the house. Clee Torres is in. Mark McIntyre. Julius, we said that. Let's see, Flipside Fishing. Ian from Brooklyn, the Raging Dolphin Maniac. Herman or Cueva. Mark McIntyre says, baseball is a joke. Now waited too long, no bubble, 7-inning games. Are they selling candy bars like Little League too? Brother, it's a pandemic. They got to squeeze in a few games before the season. It is what it is, so just enjoy the moment. If you want to complain. We know it's a bogus season, but whatever, man. We
have sports.
Yeah, we have some sports, so enjoy that. At least you get to watch a little baseball.
Inquiring minds want to know who was in first.
Marlins.
No. Who got
No,
on?
I already said that.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Julius 305.
Julius was the winner?
Yeah, he was the number oneer today. Josh is in. John Santos says audio is in and out. Gus says, good morning, guys. Audio cutting out. Josh says, thank God I wasn't the only one. Let's see. Rosendo says, good morning, everyone. Prayers in the chat room. 6 feet above ground. A good day. Deadline for NFL players to opt out. Yes, 4 o'clock. David Pridham is in. He says, if you're already 7 games behind the leader already like Casey Royals, given a 60-game season, very tough hill to climb to dream of winning division. Yeah, but the KC Royals never had – they didn't have any expectations. It's like the Marlins. So if you are in contention, it's a miracle. If you're not, it's expected. You know what I mean? So it really shouldn't be. For the Royals, it's about getting their players experience in a very short season. Let's see. What else do we have here? Call of Duty 1, Life is a Gamble is in. Ray Grulon, Dougie Fresh. The guy Panthers have to neutralize on the Islander is Peugeot. The little guy has been a beast during the playoffs his entire career. Not intimidated with the rest of the Isles. 2 consecutive wins can be done. They can be done if you have a team that is mentally tough. Unfortunately, the Panthers are not a mentally tough team. They have never proven to be mentally tough. And I see Alexa V is in, and so is Nico Jones also chiming in on the chat board. So appreciate all of you out there on the chat board as always and reaching out on the show and supporting us any way that you are or you can, whether it's us, our sponsors. Always appreciate. Remember, when you go to any of our sponsors, mention our name, okay? Very important, because that's how you keep the show going, by mentioning our name. So we got Marlins tonight at 7:35. Wade LeBlanc taking on Jordan Yamamoto. Some people wanted to free Yamamoto. Well, Yamamoto is free, and he'll be on the mound. LeBlanc, by the way, is 1-0 with a 4.09 ERA. And that's the other thing, that when you look at this matchup straight up, they had the better pitchers. I mean, that's not even up for any kind of discussion. And the Marlins are somehow or another, man, they got a shot at a 4-game sweep here. You know how rare 4-game sweeps are? I mean, it's tough just to sweep in the majors. A 4-game sweep, that's, I don't care who it is. And the Orioles were playing well, so it's pretty cool to see the Marlins do that. So we got a lot of sports to talk about. Of course, you want to chime in. You could chime in on the chat board. You got any questions? You want to reach out to us on the text line, which is 786-322-1105. The text line, 786-322-1105. If you want to get in on the text line, the other way is to reach out to us is on email, orlando@bigoradioshow.com. That's orlando@bigoradioshow.com. That's the way to reach out to us many ways. That's how we set it up, so that way you guys always have a form to reach out to us and hook up. You were going to say something?
No, I just sent a text to our IT people here and see if they could come, because there must be something going on with
right now they're not saying anything about the thing, but that maybe they could restart it and
something, man.
This
is the second week at this spot that it's really, and we've got our listeners and want to put out the best product we can.
Yeah, no, definitely. So we'll get that done for you guys, because it's the internet. It has nothing to do with anything we're doing, because the recordings come out perfect, the podcast. So obviously it's not the cables or anything like that. So it happens. So maybe we can tweak it here and they can restart it. You know what? Let's do this. Let's take a quick break, because it's 11:30. And we're out here at Toyota of Hollywood, 1841 North State Road 7. We'll be out here till 2 o'clock. Come on by and say hi. I want to get into a little Dolphins talk. When we come back on the other side, we'll talk a little bit about something to forecast with the Dolphins. We'll do that next.
It's a buyer's market at Toyota of Hollywood. Over 1,500 Toyotas on the ground, and truckloads just keep on coming. Now pay up to 50% less. 2020 Camry, not $29,000, $17,775. 2020 Corolla, not $22,000, $13,775. Buy a new 2020 Toyota with 0 down and 0% financing, or we'll make your payments till 2021 at Toyota of Hollywood, the #1 volume Toyota dealer on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street.
Are you tired of watching the same old travel videos on the internet? Well, then check out MikeNoGoZones.com, a travel documentary that's breaking barriers. I go to the places that the media tells you to fear, where no one else dares to go. Baltimore, Opelika, South Side of Chicago, and more. Go to MikeNoGoZones.com.
America's safest and best-selling compact luxury SUV is at Acura of Pembroke Pines, and this is how we do it. RDX, $339 a month at Acura of Pembroke Pines, the #1 volume Acura dealer.
This is the Big O Show. 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 This is the Big O Show.
All right, we back. Let's see, what do we got here? Sorry, JT the Brick rubbing off on me. It's Mike McIntyre. Enjoy the ride, my brother. Enjoy the ride, man. Call of Duty says, what up, O? Got no power at the house thanks to the tropical storm that hit Jersey. Wow, really? Damn. Isaias? Damn. That thing just created all kinds of havoc, man, up the coast, man. Let's see. What do we got here? If the MLS has problems with COVID-19 playing in their stadiums, will they go back to the bubble? John, that's a great question. Remember, like we talked about yesterday, that is something that is collectively bargained. So I don't know if the MLS can afford to have a whole season in the bubble. I don't know what the method behind the madness is. I don't know if because they can get their local broadcasts in from the bubble if they wanted to. So I'm not like, the Heat's doing that. We get to see Crotty and Eric Reed do their thing, right? Jason Jackson's on, all that, right? So it's not taken away from anything. I get to see Jessica Blaylock and
they're hanging out there on Biscayne Boulevard.
Minervini and all of them for the Marlins or the Panthers. So it's not like we're losing out on the local broadcast. I get to see Goldie do his thing with Red Deer, So I don't know. I don't know, but that's why, John, I opened up with, forecasting that football was using everybody as a guinea pig. Now it's going to turn around. And the MLS is going to see they were successful in the bubble. The NBA and the NHL are going to see they were extremely successful in the bubble. And then what is life going to be like post-bubble? And luckily for the NHL and the NBA, they will end their seasons in a bubble. The MLS will not, and they will now take big-time chances leaving that bubble, and so will the NFL, and so is Major League Baseball. So that's why I'm saying that the tides are going to turn now over the next couple of months, because the people that did it right are going to be able to sit back and say, well, you know what? This is the formula right now. While we're in the middle of a pandemic, See, the problem is in this attitude, and, I hear the president still say it yesterday, the day before, it'll go away. It's going to go away. He's been saying that forever. Don't say that, dude. This is a pandemic. Until we actually do all the right things, then it'll go away. But as long as we're doing all the irresponsible things, it'll never go away. It'll stay here, and it'll stay here prominently. And that's our problem, okay? It's going to live with us, but let's try to minimize it where it's not around much. But the way we're doing it, it's widespread. And so that's how to get sports on a consistent basis away from a bubble is hard. It's hard enough for you and me in life to stay away from this thing. I tell you that every day. I never point fingers. You never hear, oh, you screwed up. You're an idiot. If you're going to go to a strip dances from girls, you're an idiot if you're protesting without a mask. You're an idiot if you're at a Trump rally without a mask. You're if you're in the Ozarks in a 400 people in a pool without a that I will call you an idiot for that. But catching COVID, doing all the right things, I mean, that can happen to any of us. Wearing a mask, washing your hands, all of that. This is not an easy thing to stay away from. It's a battle for all of us.
You know who's the only sport that's going to be in both environments? The MLS. Once they get out of the bubble.
That's right.
Maybe they're a really good, like, if they fall on their face when they get out of the bubble, it's going to be, look, it worked when they were in the bubble. Look what happened once they left.
Right.
They're a good barometer.
Right, but the best barometer is Europe. They're playing soccer without a bubble because they minimize the damn virus.
But that's because of the people doing the right thing around,
Right. It's crazy because some of the same idiots that are telling you, oh, no, I don't want to wear a mask, they want football back. And it's like, dude, do you get it that, like, we need to put on the mask so we can, like, lower it and then football can be played? That way, because when there's less people out there carrying the virus, guess what? There's less chances for you to get it. Wow, what a concept. That's kind of what we're trying to achieve. Okay? Think about it. The people that are testing positive, do you know how many millions of people aren't even tested and they're positive? I just told you yesterday, Ethan Skolnick tweeted out he got it. He had no idea he had it. You know how many people are walking around with it, spreading it, and they have no idea that they're spreading it? None whatsoever. That's the crazy part of this thing. So it's going to be tough, long. When they get to it. Because if they want to save their season, if they end up having a bunch of positives once they get out of the bubble, the players are going to look and say, well, man, everything worked in the bubble. We can make our money. We can have the games, finish out our season. Maybe they'll do that. I don't know. I don't know what the economics are too, John. You know, like the NFL can do. Where those leagues are at right now. You know? Baseball has enough money to do it. That's for sure. Ronald Hubbard says, good morning, everybody. Hats off to the Marlins. They kicked the crap out of my Phillies. It's a beautiful thing, man. Yeah, we love it. Big O with Albert Wilson opting out. Who do you think will step up as a possible number 3 receiver if there's a season? Well, Herman, I'm glad you brought it up because I told you I wanted to address the little Dolphins talk here. And we all know that Albert Wilson and Alan Hearns dropped out. They opted out for COVID reasons, and we all can respect that. And I already, if you didn't tune in yesterday, I talked about their absences and what it means to the team and where they're going to miss them and all that stuff, and you can listen to all of that. The other part of the conversation now we'll have, which we all know that the starters now are and have always been Devontae Parker and Preston Williams. And Preston now is back to practicing, and by the time the season rolls around, he should be ready to go and ready to play. And so now you've got 2 guys that are, you know, your top dogs, your number 1 guys. So here's where it starts to get interesting. I think your number 3 guy will be a situational person. Let me explain. I think that if you're in a short area that you've got to move the chains and you've got to get possession, I think a guy like Isaiah Ford will have that opportunity. If you're at your own 35-yard line and it's first down or second down and you want to spread these guys out and you want to kill them with some speed, I think you'll bring in Jakeem Grant. Gary Jennings is kind of a wild card. Kirk Merritt out of Arkansas State is a wild card. Malcolm Perry out of Navy, more of a running back, but will probably be used as a wide receiver. Now, I want to remind you, I want you to look at what the Dolphins are doing right now, okay? Patrick Laird, a pass-catching running back. Matt Breida, a pass-catching running back. Malcolm Perry, the kid they got out of Navy, a pass-catching running back / receiver / returner / do everything, but he can catch the ball, is my point. Myles Gaskins can catch the ball out of the backfield. Okay. I'm going to try to say this with a straight face, but I can't. Kalen Ballage. He has the skill set, okay? We saw it the first year. The second year, I can't explain what happened to Kalen Ballage. I don't know if he thought he arrived or something in year 1, but he got humbled in year 2. But he does have the skill set to catch the ball, okay? Like I said, I don't have a straight face under this mask, okay? So I'm sorry, but he does have the skill set. But my bigger point is that there's no doubt that the 2 guys that walked out are 2 guys that can be every down number 3 guys, okay? I'm not going to argue that. But now you have maybe more of a revolving door, more of a situational type of way of doing things. So you might have that third receiver might alternate. The third and fourth receivers might alternate. That you may have different kinds of packages. You know, maybe Isaiah Ford and Malcolm Perry are your like possession guys. And then when you want to kill them with some speed, you got maybe you bring in Grant and you bring in the Kirk Merritt kid. And you have a little more shiftiness and speed out there. I'm not exactly, well, you know, Ford actually has got some quickness to him too. He's not a slow guy or anything like that. He's not just a possession guy, but he can be because he's a good route runner, you know, overall. And that's one thing that we saw him grow last year towards the back end of the year with Ryan Fitzpatrick. So I think that's what ends up happening here. You know, maybe they sign a veteran free agent. If they do, obviously it's not going to be a burner type because those guys aren't out there. I know Antonio Brown's out there, but you don't go. And I know Chad Johnson or Ocho Cinco, whatever the hell you want to call him. I know he was tweeting out yesterday, hey, I live 15 minutes from camp. Why don't you, reach out to me and whatever, a 40-year-old receiver, 45 or whatever Chad Johnson is now. That's not the answer. Okay? If there's a veteran type guy out there that's a professional, okay, unlike Antonio Brown, who's got all kinds of issues. Plus, Antonio Brown's out for 8 games. So he's not even helping you. You don't even know if the season will last 8 games. Why would you even want to carry that headache for a couple of months after you sign him? You don't even know what's going to happen when you sign that clown. So you got to stop with all of that. But if there's a veteran out there that brings some leadership, brings some experience, brings professionalism, okay, then I can see Brian Flores and Chris Greer adding him. Remember, how many old guys were they looking for last year off the heap? Not much, right? They're into developing players. So maybe they'll steal another young guy from somebody's practice squad if they're having injuries. You know, maybe that's what they'll do. That might be the way they go because that way they can try to get more young guys. And then if they find one that they can develop and keep, they do it. And they did that last year. So I can see them going in that direction. But I think the number 3 guy, number 4 guys is going to be kind of a creative type of attack. And that fourth guy might be a running back. Because I told you, look at all those guys. It could be Patrick Laird, that fourth guy. You know what I'm saying? It could be Breida coming out of the backfield and Patrick Laird flares out and lines up as a fourth receiver. You see what I'm saying? So these are the kind of things that could end up developing. Hell, maybe you're in short yardage and you've got Howard back there with Breida and you flare out Breida. Okay? And so Breida's out there with the receivers and he's got the speed and you're at the 1 yard line and you're just powering with Howard. So you're selling that and maybe you suck them in and now you've got Gesicki and other guys and you can throw the ball if you want to. Because Howard then brings in like, they're gonna shove it right down our throats and you play action and boom. I think there's a lot of things that you can do with their lineup. And I think that's what they were planning. And I tell you this because he comes from New England. And that's why I pointed out that a lot of the backs now can catch the ball. And I think they're going to want that element in their offense. And outside of Howard, everybody pretty much can catch the ball. Kalen Ballage, it's up to Kalen, but he has a skill set. He can do it. So that's my answer to you right now at that 3 and 4 spot. I don't think you look at it like it's going to be a permanent guy. I think it's going to be a scheme fit at that moment. What kind of defense you're playing, what's their weakness, let's attack it with this guy. Next week, we attack it with that guy. The week after that, we attack it with this guy. So you're going to keep people off balance. Preston Williams and Devontae Parker are matchup nightmares. They can run, they can jump, they can catch, they can get physical, they can run past you. They're matchup nightmares. So those guys, they're a pain in the ass for anybody. It doesn't matter. The other guys, you can mix and match them. That's what I like about it. So there you go. That's my answer, and I'm sticking to it. Big O in the defense of Kalen, our O-line was terrible. Yeah, it was, but I can't blame the line. I can't blame the quarterback. We got to blame Balaj, okay? Balaj effed up a lot last year. It's up to him to kind of figure it out. You know what I'm saying? Big O, with you, luck. Halle Berry is going to proposition you for a one-night stand during this pandemic. Well, I mean, that's good and bad, right? Because then the proposition then follows up with divorce. It's not good. Super Boom Shack says, good morning, my friends. Good morning, good morning. I am making pancakes. Oh, I definitely want some, bro. What are you doing, bro? Why are you saying you're making pancakes and then we're here? That's not right, Super Boom Shack. That is not right. Can we get some pancakes Ubered here? Some French toast?
Not some real Bisquick ones.
Ooh, I love it. Let's see what else. What do we have here? There's a lot. Drew Boo is in. Says blessing fam. Love it. We got plenty of folks tuning in as always and appreciate it. If you want to get in, you can reach out to us on the text line 786-322-1105. That's 786-322-1105 if you want to get in on the text line. You can also reach out to us on Twitter. That's at Big O Show as always. Johnny Manziel got into it with Darren Rovell. Did you guys see this? So Manziel, as you all know, I'm a little concerned with Manziel because he's diving off cliffs. He's diving off the roof of his house, or actually flipping from the roof of his house into a pool, which is, talented, crazy, irresponsible, all of those things. So, Darren Rovell he's kind of like this, I don't know how you want to call it, like a nerdy stat guy, and maybe sometimes could be, I don't know, maybe a pain in the ass to some folks. So he throws out this tweet yesterday. It says, SI covers 7 years ago. And he puts, A-Rod is at rock bottom. Johnny Manziel is the envy of the football world. And so it shows two different SI articles with A-Rod there, the last days of A-Rod in New York. Remember when they were dying to get rid of him because all the money he was making and his body was breaking down, no more juice. And then Johnny Manziel, obviously, Texas A&M, all that good stuff. So it says, today, A-Rod is as relevant as ever, and Manziel achieves a flash of relevance by flipping off a building into a pool, which Johnny sees that tweet, right? And then Johnny retweets back, 7 years later, you're still as big of a bitch as ever. Oh, man. Hey, Rovell got what he wanted, right? He got a rise out of somebody. And it was Johnny Manziel. It is kind of a weird thing that I get that Johnny might be frustrated with his failures, and he has really nobody to blame but himself. Look, man, you got to dedicate yourself to whatever craft you're at if you're going to get good at it, right? And he had talent, but you're going to get paid, right? Okay, you got paid. But did you take the time to put more time into it in practice, in the film room? No, you went out to party. You did just enough to get your check. But the problem is that in that sport, you're not measured by the check. You're measured by the results. And the only way to get the real him about what's gone on in his life, and he's frustrated with it. A-Rod could have been the same thing. But to his credit, at least he took on, everything as a challenge and to turn his life around and turn his image around and all. I still think personally for me, I still think there's a huge level of phoniness with him, but whatever. But, in a lot of people's eyes, he's kind of like turned his image and he's a changed guy and all that kind of stuff. And Johnny Manziel has not worked hard enough to do that. And that's why when you see him, he's falling off a cliff that he's trying to dive off of, almost killing himself. And then now he's doing some crazy-ass stunt off a roof of a house. And, dude, like 7 years later, you're still doing stupid things. So you can be frustrated with Rovell if you want, and Rovell is just trolling by putting, something like that out there, and he ended up getting, somebody to bite in Johnny Manziel. So it helps out Rovell, right? We're talking about it. Obviously, it blows up on social media, it trends, all that stuff. So he gets what he wanted out of it. It's really up to Johnny Manziel, man. Sometimes you just got to look in the mirror and say, what am I doing about it? You made a mistake. You screwed up. You had a setback in life. What are you going to do about it? And it's nice to be rich and nice to be a silver spooner like him because there isn't real pressure on you to produce. And then look what you're doing now. You're jumping off roofs and cliffs. You're 30 already at this point or right around there. By the way, I just saw where, Bree Tessie, I think, is like his ex-girlfriend. She's doing a fans-only page now. She's kind of cute. She's all right, So, yeah, she's doing a fans-only page, which means you sign up and you get to see a little more of her, okay? Bree Tessie or something like that. I forgot her name. It's something like that. Anyway, 786-322-1105 if you want to get in on the text line. That's 786-322-1105 if you want to get in on the text line. You can also reach out to us on Twitter. That's at Big O Show. Email orlando@bigoradioshow.com. Russell Wilson. Sometimes there are people in life that are just cool. You know what I mean? And they can do anything and get away with it. The Rock is one of those guys. The Rock is cool. All right? As the late Stuart Scott would say, cool as the other side of the pillow. That's The Rock, bro. He looks cool. He acts cool, right? He says all kinds of colorful things because he's got this excellent personality, right? Whether you like his movies or you don't, or they're kind of cheesy or whatever, that's fine. But the dude's a good dude overall, and he's just got that it factor, right? And there are some people, they just have that it factor. I know it's because I talk about her all the time, but I think Halle Berry's one of those people that she just has that it factor. She's cool. You know what I mean? May not be the easiest person to be married to, but it seems like when you see her, right, she's into MMA, she's got some personality to her, she's got a little fire to her, she obviously looks amazingly phenomenal. But there are those kind of people that they have that cool factor. And then there are those people that have personality. And, it comes like The Rock, like I said, it's just a natural thing that, Snoop has it. Snoop is cool. Snoop has personality. Snoop can connect with a CEO and he can connect with any other person out there. You know what I mean? He's really smart that way, the way he can be himself and yet still connect with all kinds of people. Some people are like that. Russell Wilson is not like that, okay? Russell Wilson is a great, great human being. I mean, I could never get to 10% of what Russell Wilson is as a human being, right? But Russell Wilson has something that's called boring, and there's nothing you can do about it. Tim Duncan was a great dude. He's boring. Tim Tebow, great dude, boring. He tries to be colorful on his Good Morning America stuff and all that, but it's kind of cute. It's not boring. It's cute because it's Tim Tebow. You know, he's kind of like an angel that's stuck down here on earth or something. I don't know what happened to him. I don't know. You know, it's just like that's Tim Tebow, right? They're just Russell Wilson, the Tim Tebows of the world. They're just like, they're blessed, and we look at them and we envy them because they know how to carry themselves in almost every situation to a T. You know, it's just those kind of dudes. But what they don't have is personality. What they don't have is color. What they don't have is a sense of humor. Okay? We want them on our football teams, one in college, the other one at any level. That's Russell, of course. You want them leading because you know they're going to set the right examples off the field. They're going to handle adversity the right way. But when it comes to comedy, when it comes to being colorful, that's where those guys have to kind of check themselves. And Tim Duncan and those kind of guys, they kind of got to stay away from that. So Russell Wilson put out a video yesterday, and I guess he was trying to be funny, trying to be a smart ass, but it really didn't come off that way. Go ahead, Bill.
Hey guys, Russell here. Yes, the typical boring, yes, Russell, the robot Russell, the one you guys love to know. Real exciting. You know, I'm real exciting. But anyways, everybody has an ego, right? And I've been thinking about what you're thinking about or what you want to do in life or where you want to go. You got to be unlimited. Tell them, I'm unlimited. You know what I mean? So when they ask you certain questions like,
who brings you motivation, Russell?
Mr. Unlimited.
Who's your role model, Russell?
Unlimited.
Who's your go-to person for advice, Russell?
They think Pete Carroll, they think this person, think that person. Love you, Pete, but it's Mr. Unlimited. Tell them.
Poor Ciara. She had to be. Ciara was thrown into that whole thing. I get where he's trying to go. You know what I'm saying? That don't put limitations on anything you can do. I get all of that, but it's just so corny, bro.
Trying too hard, bro.
Yeah, and when you're
totally missing it,
but see, here's the thing, Russell, you don't need to try, dude. You don't have to be Mr. You can't be The Rock. I'm sorry, you'll never be The Rock, but that's all right, dude. You're a monster in your own right as a human being, as a leader, as a football player, as a husband, as a father. You set every other great example out there. Sometimes all of us can't check all the boxes. That's all right. It's very few people check all the boxes. You know, The Rock is one of those guys that seems to check all the boxes. He's got the money, he's got the looks, he's got the personality, he's got the fame. You know, it seems like hell, he even divorces his wife, and they're in business together, and they get along great with his ex-wife and all that, and he's with somebody else, and he was at her wedding and everything. I mean, you know, The Rock even handles divorces the right way. I mean, just some people have it, and some people also have it another way. And Russell has to understand, just like Tim Tebow, okay, you guys aren't there to make us laugh. You guys aren't there to entertain us. You guys are there because you're exceptional examples of what human beings should be. That's all. That's all. It's pretty simple. There's a lot of envy. I have a lot of envy for Russell Wilson because I think it's special people that know how to handle everything pretty much, and he's that guy. And then he's a winner, and he's a great football player, and it looks like he's an exceptional husband and a father, all of those things. I mean, the guy just, okay, so you're not a funny guy. That's all right. You don't have to try. You don't have to try when you're Tim, man. It's pretty. There aren't too many better than Russell Wilson and Tim Tebow.
Prior to the ESPN.
Right.
And they came across great. It was ad-libbed, you know, on the spot, nothing. They were really cool.
Yeah,
you know, it was awesome.
Yeah. I mean, Russell Wilson is a
Don't
stud,
script
dude.
stuff, Russ.
Yeah,
Just be you, bro.
Or just be him. He's as perfect as it gets, bro. Russell Wilson is a stud, man. He doesn't need to try to be funny because he can't be funny. In his own way. That's all. That's understand that who he is already cool. He's just never going to be The Rock, unfortunately. Let's see. Buff City is back in effect. Alexa says, I said, stop trying, please. Russell's practicing life after football, a stand-up comedian. Yeah, well, it won't work. That's for sure. Let's see. I have no bananas. How about plantain pancakes? No. Plantain pancakes. So you're going to put syrup on plantain pancakes. That's not a good. Now, do you have a bathroom right next door? Just saying. I just want to make sure you can, you can make it to the bathroom if you're going to have plantain pancakes. Okay? He sounded like a buffoon. Oh, okay. I just felt bad for Ciara because deep down inside, Ciara goes, I love him, but damn, he's corny, and I got to do this. Oh, so it shows you that, a good woman will do anything for her man. And Ciara had to, enter into that cheesy piece.
Maybe
for her man.
Maybe they can blame this on sleep deprivation because they just had a baby and he's out of his head. Maybe.
Maybe.
I'm just saying.
Okay. All right.
Has an excuse in and out. There you go, Russ.
Yeah, that could be the case. All right, let's take a break. It is noon. We are into hour number 2 here on the Big O Show. Don't forget VSS West Pines. We were there yesterday, 12397 Pembroke Road. Go on by, see Jose, go see Jason, go see all the great people out there, man. I'm telling you, they will definitely take care of you. They do a great job. 12397 Pembroke Road, where CBD meets Barefoot Mailman and Spencer's. And if you're looking for CBD products, I'm telling you, top of the line. Plus, you'll get 20% off. Mention my name, 20% off at VSSWestPines.com.
America's safest and best-selling compact luxury SUV is at Acura of Pembroke Pines, and this is how we do it. RDX, $339 a month at Acura of Pembroke Pines, the #1 volume Acura dealer.
Are you tired of watching the same old travel videos on the internet? Well, then check out MikeNoGoZones.com, a travel documentary that's breaking barriers. I go to the places that the media tells you to fear, where no one else dares to go. Baltimore, Opelika, South Side of Chicago, and more. Go to MikeNoGoZones.com.
It's a buyer's market at Toyota of Hollywood. Over 1,500 Toyotas on the ground, and truckloads just keep on coming. Now pay up to 50% less. 2020 Camry, not $29,000, $17,775. 2020 Corolla, not $22,000, $13,775. Buy a new 2020 Toyota with 0 down and 0% financing, or we'll make your payments till 2021 at Toyota of Hollywood, the #1 volume Toyota dealer on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street.
We back. Coming to you live from Toyota of Hollywood. Come on out here, man. Take advantage. Herbie Lopez and company. Steve Ostrov cracking the whip as always. Rick Smith, Joel, Lori Rodriguez, a lot of great people out here at Toyota of Hollywood. So come on out and join us, por favor. We'd appreciate it. Come on by and say hi. Rosendo says that if you feel like eating good subs, Big O, you and Bill should drive to Sub Center, established in 62 at 5913 Hollywood Boulevard. Okay. Is that like the same? Are they tied to the Sub Center that's on 441 down by Ives Dairy? Because isn't that place called Sub Center also? Is that the sister place to it or something like that? I didn't even know that. If it is, I didn't even know they had a second one. I thought that was the only one. So fill me in. Is that Sub Center related to the other Sub Center? Because I believe it's called Sub Center over on, and they do a really good job. I really enjoy the one on Ives Dairy and 441. I love that one. That diagonally across from the old Tootsie's. That's where it's at. Yes. So I don't know if it is or not, Rosendo. You got to fill me in on that. But it's cool. What's up, baby? There we go. Go Dolphins. I love it. So I don't know if it is, but if it is, then I know it's definitely a good place to go. That's for damn sure. But I mean, once you start mentioning pancakes, that's pancakes, French toast, that's kind of like a weakness for me, man. You guys start talking about stuff like that. Oh, hey, you know what? I'll give you a little tip for some sweets I had yesterday. There's a place called Honey Bee Donuts, and they are at the Falls. They also have a second location. I don't know where the second location is, but I think they have 2 locations if I'm correct. But I went to the one in the Falls, and it's on the, I guess that's the south end of it. It's closer to Bloomingdale's, in other words, or where Bloomingdale is that one still open? Bloomingdale's, I'm not sure. But anyway, it's towards the TGI Fridays, in other words, on that side. And just to kind of give you a heads up, their donuts are awesome. Now, I'm a glaze guy, but the glaze was delicious. Okay, so if you're looking for some nice donuts, not your regular, I'm talking about like those fancy donuts, like what they do at Dandy or what's the other one that's really popular? I have one on Bird Road. On the one then Davies, or what is it, Davy, the original one? What's the name of that donut place? They do a really good job now. I can't believe I'm forgetting the damn name now. I know one of you will end up texting in the name for me, and I'm brain farting now. But anyway, the Honey Bee Donuts, they do a really nice job in the Falls. The girl there, with the black hair, she was really, really nice too yesterday. So just props. They're not a sponsor or anything. I mean, if they were a sponsor, they could be a sponsor because they're really quality donuts. So I would definitely have them as a sponsor. That would be a kind of company that I would represent, put it that way. Mojo, thank you, Josh. Thank you. Mojo does such an awesome job, and I forgot the damn name. So Mojo, Dandy, those kind of donut players. Jupiter Donuts, they do a really good job. Jupiter's right off of, what is it? Is it Sheridan? I think. No, it's not Sheridan. Forgot what but it's right off of 95, and there's a drive-through. So Jupiter Donuts is another one that does a really, really nice job. So if you want to try something and you live down south, go see those people, man. They do a really, really good job. Okay. Let's see. Alex says, what about the tight end? Can he be a number 2, maybe even a number 1? Are you talking about Gesicki? I don't understand. What do you mean? Gesicki is your lead tight end. Or are you talking about some of the backups? I mean, the backups are all questions. You should try the Sub Center turkey pastrami and Philly cheesesteaks are the best. Okay. All right. I got to check it out one day. Definitely. All right. I had no idea Sub Center had a second store. Krispy Kreme are super good. Yes. Oh, no doubt. Krispy Kreme are definitely good. But if you want those gourmet-like donuts, the Honeybee does a nice job, man. Got to give them props. You know, if I like something, I got to give it love. And those Honeybee donuts are pretty damn good, man. I love the glaze, the way they made it. That was one where I was like, all right, I will be back, which is good. I had never tried them until yesterday. I was in the area, stopped by. I said, all right, let me try it. And I'm telling you, you definitely want to try their donuts. They do a really, really good job. All right, 786-322-1105. If you want to get in on the text line, that's 786-322-1105. If you want to get in on the text line. Tre'Davious White, the Bills cornerback. And this is where, remember I told you about the Neanderthal football fans, that there's that level of them? Well, they're going after Tre'Davious White. Why? Because White now has opted out for the 2020 season. So fans now are giving White and his family some grief over. And so he claps back here and says, crazy that me choosing my family's well-being over a game comes with so-called fans attacking and questioning me and saying I'm selfish. So White tweeted this out this morning. No, you guys are selfish for thinking that football is bigger than life. And oh, by the way, my girl's grandfather so that way you're not breathing on others and you're not spitting on others. And one thing we've all learned that while we're talking, now we know that you don't need to literally see the spitball. They come out as and protect his family. And you've got, again, the Neanderthal. I'm telling you, there's a section of football fans that it's like they think football is the only thing that matters in life and that everything else has to take a back seat to it. Or, of course, you've got to entertain me, because that's what I don't care if you're risking your life. You're getting paid for it, and you're gonna entertain me. That's the attitude they have, and that's what he's dealing with. No player, nobody on any business should be questioned about this. Okay, because we're all different. You know, and a lot of people have to deal with medical issues. Look, he's got it, I've got it. We're here, we're working. Now, we work and we are still working in conditions that at least, create an environment for us to continue to do it. But if we had to do it amongst 100 people, then I wouldn't be able to do it. I wouldn't do the show. I'd stay in studio the entire time. You know what I mean? But I'm not. We're here. We're by ourselves. We're here in the lobby, but nobody's really hanging around us. So it's relatively safe. But that's how we have to approach things. And there's and the people that can't go to work because of medical issues, I mean, if they've got somebody home, can you blame somebody for not wanting to bring COVID home if they've got somebody that's got pre-existing conditions? Of course not. So any moron that is questioning Tre'Davious White is just a selfish loser at this point. That man's looking out for his family. See, Tre'Davious White is the kind of person you admire. That's what you should be saying as a fan. Hey, I'm sorry that you're not playing. I'm sorry I'm not going to see you do your thing this year, but I respect it, man. You know, and to know that somebody in his family already passed away from COVID, he's already experienced it. That young man, do you think, knowing how he's been around football players, he knows how they think, he knows that there's going to be a couple knuckleheads that are going to bring COVID in and spread it. And then, God forbid, he goes and gives it to his grandmother. He already lost his grandfather. Do you think that guy wants that on his conscience? He doesn't care what he's going to make this year. It's more important for him not to kill somebody in his family. Wow, what a concept. God bless him, man. I hope everything works out for him this year. I hope nobody gets COVID in his house. I hope he stays healthy. But I still hope the Dolphins kick the Bills' ass. That has nothing to do with it. But I wish him the best. And I admire him for making a really tough choice. Because he's a young guy. But again, he's a young guy. He's got a whole career in front of him. But don't worry, the Bills will want him badly next year. They'll want him back in a big-time way. A little super chat action. Man of 1,005 holes. The first super chat of the day. Thank you, sir. Thank you, my brother. He says, I'm now craving a Butterfinger donut. Thank you. Oh, a Butterfinger donut. Wow. That is crafty. They had a caramel honey donut yesterday. I didn't get it, but damn, that thing looked good. Like, it looked delicious, bro. That place was dangerous. I'll say the donuts I did see there, wow. And I went at the end of the day, so they were already kind of low on donuts at that point. But man, they look good. Holy moly. Herman says no audio. You guys are getting no audio. Says cutting. I don't know what to do, guys. Reach out to him again, bro. Or send them like 8, or maybe, you know what? Ask here at the receptionist to reach out to the IT people for you. And maybe because maybe he's not here. And we need to get somebody that's in the building now. Let's see, Rosendo, I start teaching in 2 weeks, and if the audio just keeps in and out for Big O, I just can't imagine what my virtual world will be when I'm teaching interactive. Let's see. This shows that some fans don't understand the sacrifices these players have to make and how this pandemic is serious. Well, that's why we're in the middle of the pandemic, because we have too many people that don't take this serious. And that's why they create a bigger problem for all of us. That's definitely the issue here. So yes, okay, we're looking into it. We'll try to fix all the audio issues here, and it's not the audio issues, it's the internet issues. That's all it is. Something's going on with the internet, and it's probably needs to be restarted. It's probably what it is. NorCal says, I hear audio good. All right. As long as it's coming in good right now, that's a good thing. But the fact that it's cut out a few times, that may be. And when it's one person, I don't worry as much. But when multiple people are sending it, then that's when you have to be a little bit concerned. So I appreciate all of you out there for reaching out to us. But anyway, I feel bad for Tre'Davious White, man. I just think I just find that to be a classless way of people acting for a guy like that. Raiders have cut Jeremy Hill after signing him 2 days ago. Raiders had to cut their second-round pick, P.J. Hall, a couple days ago. Now the former Cincinnati Bengal signed with the Raiders earlier in the week. He was released, according to Raiders Wire and Vic Tafur from The Athletic. And he was signed because the team, by the way, was down a running back after Devontae Booker tested positive for COVID-19. Tuesday, Booker was cleared and returned to the active roster, so he was let go. So Jeremy Hill out of football once again. Seahawks, by the way, are showing interest in Clay Matthews and Everson Griffin, which means they are looking for somebody at a lower price than Jadeveon Clowney. Clowney is a guy that's been looking for around that $17, $18 million range. Seahawks obviously won't have to pay nearly as much for guys like that. So it looks like they're looking to spend a little less or drive down the price for Jadeveon, who I believe is still available if I'm correct. So we've got some of those issues going on in football to talk a little bit about. So Clay Matthews, man. Guy was a hell of a player for a while, and eventually you run out of gas and you wear down. And this wasn't a large man, but he played. Look, while I'm a Clay Matthews fan, I don't have any physical proof. Although I think he did get busted once for some kind of enhanced type of deal. I've always felt that Clay was one of those guys that cut a couple corners. And to his credit, he wasn't really caught on it, and he's pretty much performed at a really high level for a long time for the Packers. But eventually your body wears out, and I think that's the stage that he's at right now. Still can be effective as a rotational guy, but he hasn't been that franchise-type player in a few years now. But Seahawks, again, looking for a little bit of pass rush. They were in the same neighborhood with Jadeveon for a while, and after kicking the tires on that, I guess they're now moving on somewhere else. Or, again, like I told you, as time runs out, does Jadeveon Clowney then sign with somebody else or sign with Seattle for less than even what he was now settling for? Because remember, when Miami offered him 17, he wanted more. So Miami read it right, and that's one thing I got to give credit to this front office, man. They are reading these kind of things right more often than not, and that's one thing that has really changed for the Dolphins. Third-round pick. How about this one? Chiefs' third-round pick, offensive tackle Lucas Niang, opts out of the 2020 season. That's one of their draft picks. Rookie offensive lineman, third-round selection, has elected to opt out of the upcoming season. A source familiar with the situation confirmed Thursday with the Star. Niang, who provided the versatility to play tackle and guard, becomes the third Chief player to opt out during the COVID-19 pandemic. He joins Laurent Duvernay-Tardif, who was the first player in the league to opt out, and Damian Williams. So now you lose one of your more important running backs, obviously your rushing leader actually last year, and you lose two guys on the line in Laurent and Lucas. Wow. That's those are some losses right there for KC. That's the question is, how many are teams going to lose, and how much does that change who they are? Like the Patriots have lost a lot, and that's definitely going to affect them this year. They already had a huge defection in free agency. Now they've had a huge defection because of COVID. That's a lot too. I thought they were a 500 team. Now I'm looking at that's if there's a season, which I don't think there'll be a whole season. But I think the Patriots are going to be like a 6-win team at best. I don't expect them to win much more than that because I don't think they're that good. I think Tom Brady kind of kept that thing afloat over the last couple of years. And I as much as I know you look at him and you say, well, he might have lost a little mustard on that fastball. Maybe he's even slower now, you might say. All those kind of things. You might say he might lost a little bit, but he was still more than good enough to go out there and play at an incredible level, accurate as hell overall. I think this is a guy that it's funny to say that he produced 6 titles with that team, but maybe he didn't get enough credit on the offensive side of the ball for keeping everything together like he always did. You know what I mean? So that'll be interesting now to see this whole development of where the Patriots go and where the Bucks go with Brady. I mean, that is definitely one of the top storylines here. And with all these defections, and Tampa is working on creating their own bubble, sounds to me like the guy they just inherited, is creating an environment, a winning environment, and getting his team to buy in. And why? Because when you have Tom Brady, you feel like you got a shot. And in New England, they clearly don't feel like they have a shot, because that's why people are opting out. Tremolio says Gesicki and Ford can take on the number 5 to 7 yard catches that Hearns did. I hope the Bears tight end can do something. I wouldn't count on that guy to do anything whatsoever. You'll be just happy if he can make the roster. Matthew Walker says Clay Matthews was cleared in 2016, the PED investigation. There you go. I still think he was on PEDs. Yes, the audio is very spotty at times. It's a problem when you broadcast at Toyota of Hollywood, Ronald says. Yeah, we'll look into it, my brother. We are working on it. Let's see. What else do we have here? You don't give the mad scientist a lot of credit, Big O. Yes, I do give him credit. But I give Brady more credit overall when I'm talking about that offense and keeping that team together. I think he was more of the guy that kept everything together. I think Bill is the genius, but I think Bill is not the guy that is a loved genius. I think he's a respected genius. You know what I'm saying? Whereas in Pete Carroll is a guy that players love. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of the difference there. You know? So that's where I would tell you that you got to look at it a little differently there. 786-322-1105 if you want to get in on the text line. That's 786-322-1105 if you want to get in on the text line. You can also reach out to us on Twitter. That's at Big O Show. Follow us also on emails if you need to send me an audio clip, a link, an article, a picture. Don't do it on the text line. Do it on email, orlando@bigoradioshow.com. And thanks to some of you out there that did send me links for a Dolphin N95 mask with the old logo, okay? Because some of you were, I think one of you were able to find it. You others sent me the regular surgical mask type, and that one's cool. But I don't want to buy that one. I want to buy an N95 one, and one of you did find it for me, although that website looked kind of bogus. I got to say that the website where that one was on, I have the link. I haven't purchased it yet because, I don't know, the website kind of made me nervous. I got to admit. You know, it wasn't like straight up on an Amazon. It was, let me see if I can pull it up. As it was, I'm telling you, it was something I've never seen before. But I appreciate it immensely, man, that you would send me that. Because I buy it, they're going to, like, take my card and take everything away from me. Let me see where it's at. I guess I gotta look for it now because I know I have it somewhere around here. Somebody send it to me. It was interesting. All right. Anyway, let's do this. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back on the other side. We'll take your texts. We'll take your calls. We'll take your tweets. That's right. Where are the phone
We can't
lines?
take any. We can't take any more calls. The phone lines are loaded.
That's true. The phone lines are loaded. That guy's trying to get in, and he's pissed right now. He can't get in, which sucks. Big O, what's your prediction for the Dolphins this year? Daniel, we'll see, brother. Give me a couple more weeks until we actually start a season. Then I'll give you a prediction. Let's find out who's dropped out, who's got COVID, who got injured, all of those things. And then maybe I can give you a terrible prediction because it's going to be so hard to predict what's going to happen to other teams, which may shape what Miami ends up doing. You never know. All right, let's take a break. Back with more right here on The Big O Show.
It's a buyer's market at Toyota of Hollywood. Over 1,500 Toyotas on the ground, and truckloads just keep on coming. Now pay up to 50% less. 2020 Camry, not $29,000, $17,775. 2020 Corolla, not $22,000, $13,775. Buy a new 2020 Toyota with 0 down and 0% financing, or we'll make your payments till 2021 at Toyota of Hollywood, the #1 volume Toyota dealer on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street.
Are you tired of watching the same old travel videos on the internet? Well, then check out MikeNoGoZones.com, a travel documentary that's breaking barriers. I go to the places that the media tells you to fear, where no one else dares to go. Baltimore, Opelika, South Side of Chicago, and more. Go to MikeNoGoZones.com.
America's safest and best-selling compact luxury SUV is at Acura of Pembroke Pines, and this is how we do it. RDX, $339 a month at Acura of Pembroke Pines, the #1 volume Acura dealer.
This is the Big O Show. 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 This is the Big O Show.
All righty. Yes. Let's see. Do a little music talk, too. We got some stuff to talk about today in music. Let's, first of all, in history, back in 88 on this date, Guns N' Roses' debuted album, Appetite for Destruction, went to #1 after 57 weeks on the charts. Remember, that album was released earlier, and then it did nothing, and then all of a sudden, the thing blew up like a year later. It was just one of those things. It was weird. And then it became the #1 album. So it was released at one point under the radar for a while. And that's happened over the history of time. There have been certain bands that they released a song or an album and it did nothing the first go around. And then, months later, a year later, sometimes 2 or 3 years later, all of a sudden it gets the momentum it needs and boom, it explodes. And it's weird when you think type of albums that you start from beginning to end and you never have to touch it. On my way here, in fact, when I was getting off on the highway on Hollywood and I-95, or the Turnpike, I'm sorry, Hollywood Boulevard and the Turnpike, I was listening to Rat, Wanted Man. And that Out of the Cellar album for Rat was a masterpiece. It's one of those albums that you play from beginning to end. So the fact that Appetite for Destruction, and I guess because they were an unknown band at that moment, just like Rat, but Rat obviously had the MTV thing, and it got the momentum it needed right away. And Round was one of those things that was able to just take off, and Milton Berle and the whole video and all that kind of helped out because he's a family. But still, Appetite for Destruction, it's a magical album, dude. You know, there's not a bad song on that album. Okay?
Longevity hanging around in Billboard's top 500.
Yeah.
When you're talked about next to Dark Side of the Moon,
right, you
are a badass.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Plain and simple.
Yeah, it's one of the great albums of all time. And to think that it hung around for like a year until it actually started to really explode. You know, that's just some crazy stuff, man.
You know what, thinking about it, man, in hindsight, remember that like Metallica and Guns N' Roses were the last from the L.A. before the grunge scene with Nirvana.
Right. Okay,
and I'm wondering if maybe that had something to do with it. That,
Who knows?
That, like, okay, this is not the hot spot. We're moving over here. And,
right.
Wait a minute, man. We can't overlook this. This is amazing.
This is one of the greats.
Yeah. It is. You put it on and let it go.
Yeah, and I get it, NorCal. You hated me to talk about GNR. Aerosmith, 2009 on this date, singer Steven Tyler was airlifted to a hospital after falling off stage during a gig at Sturgis Motorcycle Rally in South Dakota, suffering neck and shoulder injuries. I'm laughing because I still remember the video, and I don't want the man to get injured, but I still remember the video and how goofy he looked and how he disappeared off the stage when he fell. So Tyler getting injured on this date. Back in '89 on this date, U2 bassist Adam Clayton was arrested in Dublin for marijuana possession and intent to supply the drug dealer the drug to another person. His conviction was waived when he donated a ton of cash to a home for victims of domestic abuse. So he turned a negative into a positive. So I got to give him credit there. That is awesome right there. Kenneth Cleveland giving us a little love on the super chat. He says, "What's up, Big O? Having toasted bologna and cheese sandwich with lettuce and tomato live from the Boom Boom Room." Give my man Kenneth a little love here for the super chat. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. A couple of other things that went on in music today. First of all, let's go with Stevie Nicks. On this date with Stevie Nicks. In 1981 on this date, listen to this, Stevie Nicks released her first solo album, Belladonna, which contained 4 top 40 hits: Stop Dragging My Heart Around with Tom Petty, Leather and Lace with Don Henley, Edge of 17, and After the Glitter Fades. Awesome album for her to come out. In 82 on this date, Pink Floyd The Wall, starring Bob Geldof, opened in movie theaters in New York. The film was conceived along the double album by Pink Floyd's Roger Waters. How about that on this date?
You know, I will go to my grave believing that Bob Geldof did not win the Nobel Peace Prize because of playing that part.
Probably.
You know,
which by the way,
shaving his eyebrows in that scene,
which he did a great job playing that part.
No, it was amazing, man.
He was
absolutely. That movie is so critically acclaimed.
He should have been praised for playing.
Yes.
Sid Barrett, right? He was?
Yes,
he was
exactly.
playing Sid Barrett?
That's loosely.
Right, loosely.
Right.
Right.
But look, the Army scenes, World War II scenes, with the pink water, the way it really would look, and the bodies in the sand from the shore, buried. The interaction of real people with the cartooning and animation.
Yeah.
That movie was so way and hugely critically acclaimed. I mean, like incredible.
Yeah, it's just the problem is everybody keeps looking. I go, well, do I need to be stoned to watch this? Speaking of being stoned,
it wouldn't hurt.
Back in 2004, Rick James was found dead at his Los Angeles home, known as the King of Punk Funk. James scored an 81 U.S. number 3 album with Street Songs and an 81 U.S. number 16 single with Super Freak. When I read that, I was like kind of shocked. Super Freak only got to number 16. I thought that would be one of those songs that was number 1. In the late 60s, James worked as a songwriter and producer for Motown, working with Smokey Robinson and the Miracles. Addicted to cocaine, he once admitted spending $7,000 a week on drugs for 5 years. Yeah, that might be a little too much there, Rick. But then again, that was you, brother. You kind of took it to
You know who
extremes.
does a hell of a Rick James?
Who?
Mr. Chappelle.
Yes. Yeah, he does. Bitch. Randy DeBarge is celebrating a birthday today, born in 1958 on this date, from the group DeBarge, of course. Rhythm of the Night. Yeah, that was a famous one. And one more, celebrating a birthday today, Jerry Halliwell, Ginger Spice from the Spice Girls. She is celebrating a birthday today, and Jerry was born in 1972. So happy birthday to Jerry Halliwell. So there you go. That's some of the stuff that happened in music history today, which is always a good thing. What are you going to say?
I'm really glad you brought up the Spice Girls because, like, musically, just absolute incredible. Every one of them, amazing artists.
They are?
Astounding.
They are. Now, I got to tell you, I saw this story about Paul McCartney, and I found it kind of funny because I love Paul McCartney, man. I'm a huge Beatles guy, obviously, and I love Paul McCartney's solo career with Wings. He did some stuff I really like on his own, too. I love the stuff from Wings. I'm not one of those haters, and I get it. It's a little different from what he did with the Beatles, but I thought it was still magical. McCartney has kind of been slamming the idea of a residency in Vegas. And so a lot of people have done it, from Elton John and Aerosmith and Billy Idol and all that stuff, right? So he was being interviewed by GQ, and they asked him if he ever considered doing a run in Vegas. His response, he says, "That's something I've been trying to avoid my whole life. Definitely nothing attracts me about the idea of Vegas is where you go to die, isn't it? It's the elephant's graveyard." And so Bruce Springsteen did a run on Broadway. So asked about that, he goes, "The Beatles icon doesn't like the idea of doing something that's already been done. Some people would like me to do it. As they say, I've got plenty of stories and plenty of songs. But one of the things that's holding me back at the moment is that Bruce has just done it, you know? It feels a bit like, oh, suddenly I'll do it then. So I think that's made me a little reluctant to follow in his footsteps or follow a trend." And I got to tell you something. Here's where I would tell Paul, dude, stop being, a stiff little bitch. Loosen up, bro. Okay? Vegas is not where you go to die. Okay? I get that Donnie and Marie are there, and I understand all of that from the images you have of that. But when you have EDM DJs doing stays and residencies, and those people are far from dead, they're all young. Okay? All right, so when I see Steve Aoki there doing his thing, you know what I'm saying? Or what's this other guy's? Oh man, I mean, every time I go to Vegas, there's always a couple of those guys there, and they're young. You have this whole idea of the Rat Pack and watching, Dean Martin and all that stuff, and I get it. That old Vegas, that was kind of the way to do it. And Liza Minnelli's down in the end of her career, and so she's out there for a stay. But that's not that anymore. Vegas is about families. Vegas is about shopping. Vegas is about amusement parks now. Vegas has changed their entire way of being. It's a whole different place to go to. It used to be a place of just debauchery. All you ever did was go to gamble or, a lady of the night. That's not how it is in Vegas anymore. I think I've told you this many, many times. In fact, I told my wife the other day, I go, I'm going to take you to Vegas, and we're going to go to a strip club because I've never been to one in Vegas. That's the thing. That's what it was known for. You only go to Vegas for a bachelor party. You go to Vegas because you're going to go to the Bunny Ranch. You go to Vegas because you're going to go to a bunch of strip clubs and you're just going to get drunk and you're just going to gamble. That's just not what it is anymore. I go to Vegas, and now I go because I want to go see a couple of really good concerts, do a little bit of sports gambling, go have dinner at a good restaurant or two or three. You know what I'm saying? Go to amusement park if I want to. Go to the Pinball Hall of Fame. Go to the Hoover Dam. It's actually a really cool place to vacation. Oh, I want to, you know what? I'm going to take a couple of hours and go drive off to Joshua Tree. Whatever. I'm just saying there's so many things to do. My wife and my daughter went to Vegas, and they took a helicopter ride to the Grand Canyon. It's not about dying. And that's where I went and I saw Billy Idol, dude. It's not about dying. You know what I mean? I've seen so many bands there. I went to go see U2 there. I went to see Kiss there. I've seen so many great acts there in Vegas. And I know some of those were just popping in and popping out, but residencies, I think, are super cool nowadays. And let me tell you something. My message I would send to Paul McCartney, your fans would love you for doing that. Because you'll have fans that will go and hang out for a week and maybe go see you 2 or 3 times. And it becomes convenient for you because you stay at one place, you stay in one hotel room, and you've got a routine going on, and you're not going from city to city, you're at a place that it's a destination place because people go to Vegas for more than just debauchery. Okay? If it was for that, then I would rarely ever go to Vegas. I wouldn't be going to Vegas at all, actually.
You know where Paul's stuck? Remember the ending scene in Casino when the old people are coming through the entrance and De Niro's doing the talking? He's like, yeah, but while blah, blah, blah is going on, Mommy and Daddy are blowing little Johnny's college fund, la, la, and you see all the old people with the visors on. And that's what he's thinking. He's thinking the old
Vegas.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's stuck in that scene.
Yes. Yeah. I read that and it was like, have you been to Vegas? Have you watched Vegas? That's not the way it is anymore. It's a whole different ball game. Dude, they were going to have the NFL draft there for several days. That's not just old people. That's all kind. That's a hip thing. Like I said, EDM is. They have one of the bigger festivals there.
He's thinking of when Dantana was hanging around.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. That's exactly what he's thinking. He's thinking it's Dantana and it's Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin and that's what he keeps thinking. He keeps thinking that's not Vegas anymore. And I'll tell you this, a Paul McCartney residence would be really cool. Because he could do like a Beatles night, and then he can do a solo night if he wanted to. He can do 2 different residencies. He could do a run where he just does Beatles, and then he can do a run where he does just his music. And both would be attended very well.
I'm going to say this, and I think I'm going to be speaking for many, many people. I don't care where you play, Paul. Just please make it affordable for normal people to be able to go. $275, $300 for nosebleeds, bro. Come on, man.
Yeah. No, you're right. GNR took a while to take off because they suck live. Great album, agree, but Axl can't sing 200 nights a year. He's way overrated. I can always count on NorCal to take shots.
I knew that was NorCal.
Yeah. Let's see. I saw Axl singing for AC/DC a couple years back, and he sounded decent. He sounded great. He sounded excellent doing the AC/DC, bro. I've seen Axl the last couple times, and he sounded awesome at Miami Baseball Stadium, at the Miami Marlins Stadium. He sounded great in Orlando when I saw him with the Colt, and when I saw him do AC/DC, he sounded excellent. So, Super Boom Shack says, I want to see a Cannibal Corpse residency in Vegas. Big O saw Rick James a week before he died at Sunset Fest in Palm Beach. Wow. There you go. That's classic right there, dude. Let's see. Boom, I do Billy Sheridan. When you compare photos, is so much different facial bone structures. Well, I don't know. What the hell are you talking about there, Thermolio? Let's see. What else? Rat Pack hung out in North Lake Tahoe. Cal Neva, wife and I got married there 18 years ago. Rat Pack is that's one of the greatest right there, dude. Let's see. I've never been to Vegas mainly because Lake Tahoe has gambling, shows, and skiing. That's where I went for my honeymoon. I went to Lake Tahoe. I think it was Heavenly. I want to say, was it Heavenly, the mountain I was we were skiing on a lot? Damn, you want to go to Vegas? Oh, damn, you make me want to go to Vegas. Well, Josh, I want to go to Vegas all the time, dude. I love going to Vegas, man. I can go to Vegas anytime you want, my brother. And the fact we lost out during draft week, it kills me, man. Kills me. That was going to be epic, brother. That was going to be awesome. Let's see, what else do we have here? I hate a couple of today on their YouTube channel. They will Ross and 2 Chainz. Tonight is the event on Versus Instagram's account. So, and remember, Versus is to us on email, and that, my friends, is orlando@bigoradioshow.com. Many ways to reach out to us on the program. Expect this to happen, and expect it to happen a lot. And I don't have a child anymore. I have a young adult as a child, so I don't have to worry about it. She's in college now, and a lot of it is virtual and all that stuff. So for us, it's a little bit of a relief, I would imagine. But for those of you that have, high schoolers, middle schoolers, elementary, I don't know how you're going to handle all of this. I wonder, and for those of you that are on the chat board, how are you handling your kids? And how are you looking at all of this? Because a Georgia second grader tested positive for COVID-19 after attending the first day of school. The Sixes County School District began an in-person classes on Monday, but by Tuesday, a classroom was temporarily closed for deep cleaning, and the teacher and 20 other students have been asked to quarantine for 2 weeks after the second grader tested positive. Parents and officials have debated whether it's safe to send students back into the classroom as virus cases have. And by the way, Georgia's one of the top states that has problems. It's right behind the big three, which we all know. It's us, California, and Texas. We're the three screw-ups, the major screw-ups out of all of it. But Georgia, Louisiana, and South Carolina, they kind of alternate as the number 4. They're in the 4 receiver attack. They're the 4th receiver. That's kind of alternating, kind of like what I told you about what the Dolphins are going to do. And I'm just wondering how all of you are handling this if your kids have got to go, because that's got to be terrifying. Because it's not so much because, thank the Lord, most kids will be fine even if they catch it, but they're going to pass it on to people like you and me that could really struggle with it. And for you parents out there that may have some pre-existing conditions, how are you feeling about sending your kid to school? Because I keep seeing this kind of stuff, and they just did it. And I know that this is not going to be the last time it's going to happen. This is going to be something that is normal. You know, I don't know if I'm a parent of a young person, I don't know if I really want to send them to school. I want them to be virtual as much as possible. You know? Let's see, what do we have here? My kids are always home, and they will have virtual school at least till Christmas. And that's good for you, Herman. Best time of the year to be at South Lake Tahoe is January 20th through the 31st. You can ski, watch football, and gamble on sports all day. Sounds like a winner to me, NorCal. Super Boom Shack loves it. James Roman says, imagine the stigma that kids and family got stuck with thanks to government officials. Tremolio, Axel looks like an old Russian woman these days. No, what he looks like is Little Enos, Paul Williams from Smoking the Bandit. That's what you got to check out right there. Weapons X United chimes in with a super chat. He says, Big O, I'm here in Atlanta with my boy Desmond. He's a first-time listener. He says you're the best. That's very kind, Desmond. Appreciate you, my brother, man. That is very nice, and appreciate you checking us out. So make sure you subscribe on your own now, and you pull up your YouTube channel, check us out, and give us a little subscription there. Hey, besides Miami, which is your second favorite sports city? It's a great question. It would have to be San Francisco because I lived there for a short time. So I have to give San Fran a little love as my second sports city. Yeah.
You know,
I've never lived anywhere else.
Excuse me. Dr. J and all your old Philly ties are like, what did he just say?
Yeah, but
seriously?
I didn't live in Philadelphia.
Yeah, but that's where your fandom started as a kid because of, other than the Dolphins, that's all we had.
I got a question for you, bro.
Yes, sir.
Have you been to Philadelphia and San Francisco?
Yes. Well, not San Francisco, but I have been to Philly, yes.
Okay. Well,
I know. There's no.
Okay.
I know.
Okay.
I got you. I see your point.
Okay. All right. Because I got to say, I loved San Francisco. What a great city to live in, man.
They say it. I guess that's like the greatest city, like America.
I don't know about
most beautiful.
I don't know. I don't know about, I haven't lived in every city, I don't know, but all I can tell you is my experience in San Francisco was phenomenal. The people were great. They're decent people there. They actually stop their cars when you're trying to cross the street. The mom and pop restaurants all over are just a treasure. It is majestic. The views everywhere in Northern California.
Music history.
That too. But I'm just saying, and so I have a little bit of a love for San Francisco. Sadly, I only lived there for 6 months because of business issues, and I wouldn't mind living there longer. Outside of Miami, that would be the only other place that I really would love to live. So I would say San Francisco is like my backup city.
Isn't it like number one for cost of living?
Oh, it's expensive.
Yeah, right?
Yes, it's expensive.
Okay.
I lived in Tiburon, which is Key Biscayne with mountains. And, it's not cheap to live in Key Biscayne.
No.
No. So, yeah. Weapons X United, Studley, thank you, sir, for chiming in on a little super chat out there. Dougie Fresh chiming in on a little super chat action. Thank you, sir. I'm laughing because Dougie Fresh goes, do you want to see O in a freaking Culture Club concert shirt? Get him to 3,000 subscribers. And it's Chama, 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 Chameleon. So there you go, a little Chama, 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 Chameleon. Oh, he put Chama. Or is that comma? I don't know.
It's an attempt at comma.
Okay. All right.
How's that?
When you're Hispanic, it just looks like Chama to you. That's the problem. But a little comma chameleon, okay.
Because of growing up in Hialeah, there's a lot of times that I'll look at word and be like, which way does this go?
Well, Dougie Fresh, let's get to 3,000. I'll get that Culture Club shirt out and wear it I've never worn it, so this would be a good reason to wear it. My wife and I are choosing to have our son complete his 10th grade year virtually. Hey, you know what you're doing? You're doing what's best for your family, for him and your family. It sucks that the kid has to do it virtually. It sucks that he doesn't get a regular school year to hang out with the kids and do the things that kids do in school. Hey, listen, I've said it many times. I feel terrible for the high schoolers that just finished their senior year, and now the new seniors coming in to this year that they won't get to, enjoy their senior year the way they're supposed to. You know what I mean? And that I feel bad for, man, because I know how it was, and my senior year.
You paid your dues, man. You're now the kings of the campus. You know?
Yeah, you have such I don't know how school is nowadays, but I had a blast. All 3 years, but my senior year, man, I tore it up.
Yeah, we did. We took it to another level.
Yeah, only 2 requirements out of your 6 classes. The other 4.
Well, that was you, okay? I did stick to, staying with science and math.
I only had science and English. That's it. And then the other 4 were newspaper, photography, PE. I always set up PE to be the last class on my day. And you didn't have to take PE in our there was no math or PE required your senior year.
Yeah, but I still took it.
Oh, me too. And music.
I'm not talking PE. I took math.
It was
Remember,
music.
I took calculus.
That's it. It was
integrated.
It was music, PE, newspaper, and yearbook. Yeah, I know. I don't know if photography, if I threw it in there on 12th or in 11th grade. I forgot, but I mixed it in somewhere there. But yeah, anything I could do as little work as possible, that was me, dude. I'm ready to go.
See, I knew better after my parents paying for Catholic education for 9 years. Man, if I would have come home with like a class list, I was going to get chewed. So to avoid getting in trouble, I stuck and stayed the course.
My parents never asked about school. They didn't give a crap. Ronald, having my wife's 77-year-old mother living with us who has dementia and other health issues, other health conditions, and not feeling, hey, listen, man, I'm with you. Ronald, you're doing the right thing, bro. You're doing the right thing. That's what it's all about right now. Right now, unfortunately, we have to make sacrifices for ourselves or the people we love. One of the two. Because this stupid thing is just unpredictable. And they don't know how it's going to affect one group of people or another. So that's the sad part about it. Let's see, 786-322-1105. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back on the other side. We're coming to you live from Toyota of Hollywood, 1841 North State Road 7. Make sure you tell them Big O sent you. If you're looking for a Toyota, you want to buy or lease a vehicle, got over 1,500 cars and trucks out here. The selection is second to none. That's the beautiful thing. You don't want to go to a dealership. Well, oh, yeah, I'm looking for this Tundra. Well, we got about 2 of them. No, dude, come on, bro. That doesn't happen here. You're going to have an incredible selection. When I wanted to buy my Camry, okay, I had like over 100 Camrys to pick from. That's the kind of service and selection you want, and that happens here at Toyota of Hollywood.
Tired of watching the same old travel videos on the internet? Well, then check out MikeNoGoZones.com, a travel documentary that's breaking barriers. I go to the places that the media tells you to fear, where no one else dares to go. Baltimore, Opelika, South Side of Chicago, and more. Go to MikeNoGoZones.com.
It's a buyer's market at Toyota of Hollywood. Over 1,500 Toyotas on the ground, and truckloads just keep on coming. Now pay up to 50% less. 2020 Camry, not $29,000, $17,775. 2020 Corolla, not $22,000, $13,775. Buy a new 2020 Toyota with 0 down and 0% financing, or we'll make your payments till 2021 at Toyota of Hollywood, the #1 volume Toyota dealer on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street.
America's safest and best-selling compact luxury SUV is at Acura of Pembroke Pines, and this is how we do it. RDX, $339 a month at Acura of Pembroke Pines, the #1 volume Acura dealer.
This is the Big O Show. 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 This is the Big O Show.
All right.
This is the Big
We back. Bucks, by the way, tackle Brad Seaton has also opted out. Will qualify for the high-risk stipend of $350,000. He spent the 17 and 19 seasons on the Bucks practice squad. He's also spent time with the Browns and the Titans, and the Titans selected him in the 7th round of the 17 draft. Players, by the way, have till 4 o'clock today to opt out of the season. So,
do you think we're going to see a run here the last couple hours?
Yeah, I think we'll see a few guys hit.
As these guys drop out, like, why
4
are
or 5
we?
more guys or
Right?
something. I don't know if it's going to be 30, 50 guys that are going to drop out, but I can see us getting 4 or 5 more names here before 4 o'clock that are just deliberating right now. What the hell do I do? They're talking with their family. They're talking with their agents. If players have. And see, you got to remember that there's a lot of these players they are depended on by a lot of people sometimes. So they're supporting all kinds of people. And if somebody that they're supporting that they love has, pre-existing conditions, they've got to now consider, okay, how do I handle this? Because, money's one thing, but death is another. And this thing, dude.
If they opt in, then you have to stay away from that person for the next, whatever.
Yeah, and if you can do that, then you're all right, Big O, I can remember when driver's education was free in public school. Now they charge $500 to $700. Wow.
What?
Damn. All right.
That was one of those things that your parents were like, hey, you want that license, you got to go take that so they could get their discount,
Right.
If you took driver's ed.
So
and then health class was second, right? You took like a half a year of driver's ed and a half a year of health class.
Dude, just pay for some classes. Meet Deal driving school or something, and then you're good, bro. Anybody remember Meet Deal driving school? That was good. Honestly, you are a machine. 3 hours straight on air, 5 days a week is a marathon level stuff. I appreciate you, my brother. Listen, all you got to do is listen to radio around. How many people do it solo? Very few people can do it solo. Usually there's 2 or 3 people, on a show. And they do it on regular radio with about 25 minutes of breaks in an hour. So they're really only filling 35 minutes, And hell, some of them do a 4-hour shift, which is really 2 hours, 2 hours and 20 minutes maybe of talk time because of all the commercial breaks. And then some of them, what they do is they repeat an interview at the back end of that 4-hour shift. So it's multiple people on air. It's 25 minutes of commercial breaks, and they're repeating an interview. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's I appreciate that you notice it, Clee, because a lot of people don't realize it. You know what I mean? But we do our best, man. And listen, it's not easy to come up with 3 hours of talk every day. The good thing is, ladies and gentlemen, we've been pretty lucky now that the last couple of weeks here, it started like with last week, pretty much, even though we've had some sports with soccer, but that doesn't drive the conversation nearly as much. But now that we've got a little baseball in there, baseball will drive a little bit of conversation, and then basketball will drive a lot of conversation. Hockey will drive a little bit, and now we got football coming back. So it's really cool to see that we actually have, stuff to talk about, legitimate stuff to talk about, because for months it was speculative talk, right? I don't even know if that's a word, but you were kind of speculating the entire time on what would happen. You're projecting, all these things that were going on during COVID. So you have no idea, and we're just spitting in the wind. And even with that said, we were still able to, produce a show every single day. Mike No-Go Zone says, just checking in for the first time today. All I got to ask is, are the Marlins for real? Well, Mike, it's what I said yesterday. They're dangerous because they've got nothing to lose. And guys are out there to prove that they belong in the majors. So how do they prove that they belong in the majors? By performing against major leaguers. You know what I mean? So that's the beauty of what you have there. And you got to remember that these teams don't know the Marlins. They don't have a book on all these players. They don't know that this guy struggles with a high fastball. They don't know this guy struggles with off speed stuff. They have no idea yet. So they've got to also get a book on a lot of these guys and learn who they are. You know what I mean? So the Marlins also have a little bit of what's that called? The surprise element. You know what I mean? And then you've got to deal also with the I'm not scared element. I'm not fearing you guys whatsoever. I got to get mine so I can stay in this league. And think about it right now. You lost 17 players. You had to replace them. You had to call up some. You had to acquire others. All those 17 guys, they're trying to make the other 17 not come back, which we know that's not the case. It's not going to happen. But my point is those 17 guys are going to bust their asses to try to earn a spot permanently on the roster. Especially the guys that they had to acquire. So you've created more competition. Now, we'll see if, everything goes to where most people thought that they weren't going to be a competitive team, and they're not like that. But baseball is, and you've only got 60 games. Stranger things have happened. You know what I mean? It seems impossible, but because you haven't figured them out yet, and because they're loosey-goosey and nobody expects anything from them, they are playing with house money the entire time. And that's what you're watching with this Marlins team. So it's nice to play without consequences. It's nice to play, although there are personal consequences because you're fighting for playing time, but you're not fighting expectations. You're not fighting an SI article that said you were supposed to win this many games and you're supposed to be in the playoffs and you're a contender. The Washington Nationals have to deal with that kind of stuff every year, and they would fall short and they would be criticized for it. Last year, they finally broke through and won the World Series. So these are things that are to the Marlins' favor right now. But eventually, Mike, talent will take over. It has to, because that's normally what it is. So we're going to find out a lot about their opponents and the Marlins over the next couple of weeks. But for now, I got to say, dude, I'm enjoying it. And you got to admit that those of you that don't like baseball and don't follow it, obviously you don't care about what I'm about to say. But those of us that do follow it and we care, and those of us that care about the Marlins and want our hometown team to do well, your intrigue level has to be at an all-time high right now with the Marlins, right? I mean, they're 5-1. Who the hell predicted that they would be 5-1? My Lord, they come out of a hotel room to have to play doubleheaders. They haven't been playing for a whole week that they should be used to everything. No. And then half the team is new. Because you just added a bunch of guys that weren't part of the team that just started the season. I mean, they have every reason to be 1-5, not 5-1. Okay, if the Marlins were 1-5, you would be saying, you wouldn't be ripping them. You'd be like, well, dude, look at everything that's gone on. COVID, they lost all these guys. They were stuck in a hotel room. I mean, these guys have got to be demoralized. Yeah, I'm not surprised they're 1-5. It sucks, but yeah, I'm not surprised. 5-1? 5-1? Come on.
Throw a scenario at you.
Throw it.
They go undefeated with these guys, these 17 new players. What do you do with the 17 that are okay to come back?
That's Mike Hill's job. It's Mike Hill's job. And that rule kicks in now that they go down to 28 instead of 30.
You know what?
I was thinking that should not be to the Marlins and to the Cardinals right now. If you've been ravaged, not lost one guy, but if you've lost over 5, let's say, you should not be limited to 28. You should be given those extra 2 because, dude, you've lost a lot already.
Did you also hear that with these,
once everybody's healthy, then you're back to 28.
With these double headers they're talking, and there's going to be a bunch of teams that are going to have to do this, okay?
Yeah.
You're not allowed to increase and grab that extra guy. Bring up that pitcher.
No.
How we used to be able to go from 25 to 20. Even when it reduces down to 28, you're still going to be stuck at 28. You cannot add a player on a doubleheader day.
But you can send somebody down and then call somebody up. I'm sure you'll be able to do that. You can still do that. So it takes up a spot, but you're clearing a spot by sending somebody to the minors. Now, the question is, does it take away from the trips that they can make to the minors and the majors? Is that excluded from this season? Because you only have a couple times that you only have a certain amount of times you can be called up.
And then you're locked.
And then you're locked. So I don't know if they've waived that this year. I'm not exactly sure.
You know what? There's so many of the Rule 5. There's so many of these little intricacies with baseball. You know what I mean? That I got to think that all that is by the boards this year, man, because it's a bastardized season, man. You got to do whatever you can to get through, right?
Yeah.
You think they give teams a little leeway. And plus the fact that they eliminated the minor leagues, man. You know what I mean? Why not have a couple extra guys, on a doubleheader?
Well, they do. It's 28 instead of 24, but
I know
it was 30, but now it's down to 28. So they are giving them a couple of extra guys.
You know what I'm saying, man. There's no single, no double, no rookie league, no AAA. Like, man.
No, but they have a group of people that are playing.
Okay, and it's 30. It's basically 32 of them now because your roster is out to 60.
Right.
So 32 of them are wherever, and hopefully they're in different spots. You don't want all 32 together because if something happens, you know what I mean, right? You got to have two different.
No, they're together, bro. They have to be playing games. You need people to pitch.
But
and
you
catch.
see what I'm saying?
No, I know, I understand, but you have no choice. That's
at every turn.
You're not in a bubble, dude. So that's the life you have to live.
You know what? And at every turn here is for you to fall on your face. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
From your lack of setup and factoring in what we've seen. Bottom line, man, we saw it. The rash go through the Marlins and the rash go through the Cardinals. Why would you think it wouldn't touch those 32 guys now that are,
Well, that's what they have to live with. They're stuck in that
lack of foresight by them, man.
Rosendo says Marlins in first place. I need to wake up from this dream. What's next? The Panthers winning the Stanley Cup? Yeah, no, that would take acid. Forget about falling asleep and dreaming. That would take acid to imagine the Panthers do that. RIP Prince TV says, how the hell does this channel only have 2.68 subscribers? Where's the justice? Where's all my Dolphins, at least? Thank you, RIP Prince TY. Very nice of you, my man. Share the link. Tell your Dolphin friends. Tell your sports friends. Tell everybody out there. Pass it on. Tell them, hey, give us a follow. Give us a listen. Appreciate the support. That kind of stuff. And that'll help us move up in the subscribers. All right? So thank you very much, all of you out there, as always, working hard for all of us. MLB has announced that they are staying with the 30. Oh, they are? Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't see that. Did they announce that today? I'm glad they're doing that because that's the fair thing to do for the
that's got to be new today because last night they were talking about it, and obviously I was watching the Yankees and the Marlins, and they were mentioning all the doubleheader, and you can't add a guy like you used to, and we're about to go down to 28.
Well, this came in last night. It says Major League Baseball and the Players Union plan to maintain 28-man rosters through the end of the postseason amid continued challenges posed by coronavirus. Two people familiar with the matter. The people spoke to the Associated Press on the condition of anonymity on Tuesday night because the agreement has not been announced. The move is pending the approval of team owners in an upcoming vote. Rosters are set to shrink from 30 to 28 on Thursday, and the union has told the players to expect them to remain that size through the completion of the World Series. So the sides had originally agreed to cut rosters to 26 on August 20th. Taxi squads will be expanded from 3 to 5 players. Before the pandemic shut down, spring training prompted MLB to shorten the 60-game schedule. The league and union had agreed to expand active rosters from 25 to 26 this season. So apparently it's still going to go to 28, like what I thought. So that sucks. I just pulled up hardball talk, and I have not seen anything else from that, my man. Let's see. It must be under 3,000 because of the no phones thing. There you go. Robert is on hold. Yeah, that's probably what it is. Okay? That's probably what it is. But thank you all out there for, as always, caring and wanting to move the show along, which is always a beautiful thing. All right, let's do this. It is 1:30. We are out here at Toyota of Hollywood. 1841 North State Road 7. I saw where Warren Sapp, Warren Sapp got slammed for a stupid comment. I don't know if you guys saw this. Did you see this? What Warren Sapp did?
No, I did not, but I'm not surprised.
Yeah, you can't be. What is it about Warren Sapp, dude? And look, it's interesting when you talk about him here in this town because you have the UM fans, right? And it's the UM fans, by the way, that have never had an experience with him usually.
He walks on water.
Right. Those UM fans that really don't know Sapp and have never dealt with him, they don't know what kind of a Class A jerk he's been throughout his life. They've heard of it, and they've seen all the stupid things he's done also and got arrested and all that other stuff. And he's been a Class A jerk forever, okay? He just is, no matter what anybody tells you. So Sapp, right, he sees J.J. Redick, and Redick has a message on the back of his jersey, like a lot of other players have, because they've all chosen to, support the Black Lives Matter movement, which is a fantastic movement, something we all should be, a part of and support, that we, get equality in this damn world for everybody. I mean, that video I saw yesterday of the woman and the 3 kids getting taken out of the van. Did you see that video, dude? That thing was disgusting.
No.
And the kids were crying and all that. It's on my Twitter feed. And again, it was just gross. But anyway, so we know that this is going on constantly. Okay? So J.J. Redick has on the back of his jersey, it says, say their names. Okay? Because it's say my name. They've been doing it for Breonna, right? But there's another saying that says say their names, because we all know there isn't only one person that's been, treated unfairly. There's been many. So Warren Sapp, not the brightest bulb in the chandelier, sees J.J. Redick's jersey and says, anybody see this, J.J. Redick, say their names? Ain't it say her name? And then he put hashtag justice for Breonna Taylor. Either join in, don't change the message, shaking my mother effing head. Okay? Because he puts SMMFH, right? And so right after that, first of all, it's pure ignorance on his part. He doesn't get it. Okay? Yes, it is say her name when you're just talking Breonna. But it's say their names because it's many, okay? Just like that woman and the 3 kids in the minivan that the cops stopped and thought it was, a stolen car or whatever and treated them like criminals, dude. I mean, those kids were crying, and it was just that video made me sick to my stomach watching that video. And Myron, thank you for sending me that video. So Warren clearly was out of line. And the beauty of social media is, well, you're going to get checked in social media. So somebody by the name of Doc Stellar retweets back to Warren Sapp. What have you done to assist social injustice? You are part of the problem. Instead of understanding and doing some research, you spit hatred. Okay? For what? To check if any rocks are left up there? Another guy that is called Ronnie Shepard, too, says, no, it's say their name, bro. Breonna isn't the only person whose killers are still free. Trayvon Martin's killer is still free. And a gang more of our brothers and sisters' killers are still free and still policing our streets. That's the beauty. So they, again, a Brandon Lowe retweets at Sapp. So you attacked a white guy wearing the exact same saying as numerous African Americans in the league, and that's been chanted by the BLM movement. Go ahead and show your true colors. And then again, another guy by the name of Tyron DeQuan says, imagine being upset about something like this.
You know who's cringing right now, right?
And so, wait, hold on a second. Sapp then gets retweeted by a guy named Tay. Did this MF really say this ignorant S? LOL. Okay. Another guy. I mean, it goes on and on. Juanito, I know you're an OG and all, but this ain't it. He just puts, and then another one says, Derek Washington says, you're saying the same thing to Drew Holiday, asking for a friend. Log off or learn to appreciate an ally. Which, again, remember what we talked about. Okay, part of this movement, right, is to find equality for all. And we know that blacks have been mistreated, especially by the police, for a long, long time. Okay, so we're trying to create equality. And you've got plenty of people that are standing by you that are not black. They're white, they're all kinds of nationalities, they're Asians, they're Hispanics, all that, and they're standing by you. That's why when Steven Jackson or Nick Cannon spew hate towards the Jewish community, it's that kind of ignorance and that kind of stupidity doesn't help, because we got to fight anti-Semitism because it's prominent in this country. It's prominent in the world. We got to fight for women and their rights because they get abused on a consistent basis. We got to fight for the LGBT community. So for everybody to get behind those different battles. And just like what's going on with the black movement, we look what happened with the Washington Redskins. Finally, the foot was put down and said, okay, this is derogatory. This has got to be eliminated. And it was. The Edmonton Eskimos. Apparently the Eskimos, I did not know this, but apparently the Eskimo Nation in Canada did not like that their was being used as a prop for a CFL team, and that was changed. That's the idea. It starts with the Black Lives Movement. It starts with all of us getting behind that, but then it also rolls over to all of us, including the black community, joining everybody else to get behind anti-Semitism, and let's eliminate that, to get behind the LGBT community, because there are people from the LGBT community that are fighting for Black Lives Movement and that are fighting for anti-Semitism and that are fighting for women's rights. So we all have to help each other, because that's kind of what this whole thing is all about. At least that's the way I view it, that we pick up momentum for one and then it trickles into the others. Okay? Nobody's been abused like blacks. I think nobody's going to argue that. Okay? But there are others that need help too. And the idea is for all of us to get together as brothers and sisters. And what we cannot do is take shots at other people and spew hate in other directions. And a guy like Warren Sapp is too stupid and too ignorant to actually understand that. And that's why he puts out a tweet like that, because he's racist. Because that's a level of racism that's coming out of him. Just like when we catch the Kens and the Karens of the world on video and they're spewing hate, just like we catch policemen spewing hate, same thing, man. Everybody's got biases in every part of our communities. And guess the beauty of it is a guy like Warren Sapp is exposing his own. That's the beauty, Part of the problem, Warren Sapp is part of the problem, not part of the solution. We don't need people like Warren Sapp. We don't need the Nick Cannons of the world. We don't need people like that. They don't help what we're trying to do together as a society, not as a black community, as a society. Okay? Because that's what it's supposed to be.
What I was saying, you know who's cringing? They're sitting there. There's another one of them making us proud.
Right.
Oh.
Right. Yeah. But I mean, when it comes to Warren Sapp, are you surprised at this point? You know what I mean? Can't be. Gilbert Arenas. Let's get into a little Gilbert Arenas. because I thought it was kind of funny. Gilbert Arenas was they caught up with him. TMZ caught up with him, right? And he was talking about players in the bubble. Now, I want you to listen to this, okay? Let's play Gilbert Arenas and this interview talking about players in the bubble. Go ahead.
Prima donna.
Oh, prima donnas. Why do you say prima donna?
Because, you're used to a certain lifestyle, so when you get it cutting off, you always complain, but it is what it is.
They're just complaining about the restrictions and being locked down in a way. Like, we saw what Lou Williams did. Do you think people are going to learn from Lou going out to the Magic City, or no?
I mean, you're talking about grown men, 85% of them single, and you have them locked up in Disneyland, Disney World, nah.
It's tough, so they're having some trouble with that. Yeah. And more so with just their freedom and the ladies and just being out.
I'm just mad that he said he went in for chicken wings, it's a strip club. I went in for the thighs,
Right. They do have good food, though, there.
I don't know. I would never eat at a strip club.
No, that's true. Yeah,
I don't go to the strip club to eat wings.
A lot of people do, though. It's like a thing.
I can go to Wingstop for wings.
That's
I go
true.
to the strip club to see
That's true.
Now, that part of the interview is funny because, they got good food, and then he says, why wouldn't he just, okay, yeah. So you hear the guy agree with him at first, but the guy sounded like he would go to a strip club to eat wings. I'm talking about the camera guy. As for Gilbert Arenas has not played ball since the 2011-2012 season. Okay, so it's 9 years ago, and he barely played that year. I think he played, under 20 games. So he barely was a factor in that. He barely played the 2 years prior to that, too. He didn't play a lot of games either, okay, overall. So this is a guy that has not had a lot of connection with the NBA. Here's where, first of all, I got to call complete BS. He's not talking to guys in the league. He doesn't have any more friends in the league at this point. The people he probably associated with, they're all gone already. He's not getting a consensus. There's too many. There's been too much turnover. And Gilbert Arenas, Hibachi, is not the kind of guy that people would lean on for conversation. I think we kind of remember the way the guy was, medio loco, as we say. When it comes to credibility, I don't think that Gilbert Arenas would be the guy that I would be looking at. And right now, I'm looking at the NBA and the way it's gone. It's been pretty damn smooth. Okay, outside of the Lou Williams thing, overall, it seems to me like those guys are making the best of what they're doing in the bubble. You know what I mean? I don't hear a lot of, and rumblings would be going on already at this point if people wanted out, if they were frustrated, and all of that. Is it a perfect situation? Of course not. Are people going to be a little, maybe, let's say a little cabin fever because they're kind of locked up? Of course, that's normal. Happens to all of us when we have to be home a lot. You know what I mean? Unless you're a homebody and it's something you can adjust to. But most people, I get it, they struggle with it. But unfortunately for Gilbert, he's a guy that I give no credibility whatsoever. I don't believe he has any consensus of what's going on in the bubble because I think he's been so much out of basketball for so many years that I don't think he has a connection with too many players left. And the few players that are left that are old and knew who Gilbert Arenas' crazy ass was, they're not talking and dealing with him. So I love how the TMZ guy is going for a soundbite is what he's doing. And sure enough, if you know any history of Gilbert Arenas, why not? You might get something, which he didn't really say anything too crazy. I just think he was just completely inaccurate. I think he wasn't really honest because I don't think he has any kind of a vibe of what's going on inside that bubble. All right, 786-322-1105. If you want to get in on the text line, that's 786-322-1105. If you want to get in on the text line. I saw this story, and if I'm a Raiders fan, I'm intrigued by the story. Now, again, I preface any NFL story with if we have a season, okay? Because I still struggle with them having a season in a contact sport like this. But Derek Carr met with the media on Tuesday, and he was talking about the way he's kind of been viewed. And, you know, he's going into his 7th year now. He did not consider opting out. He goes, hey, did I think about opting out? I did not. I have a lot to prove to myself. I have a lot to prove to my organization. I'm being completely honest with you. I'm tired of being disrespected. So there's no question I was going to play this year. And he has started 94 of a possible 96 games since being drafted in 14. He's got pretty decent numbers, 64% completion percentage, 143 touchdowns, 62 interceptions. But again, hasn't won anything big and had those injuries down the stretch a couple times in the postseason where they were kind of laid out with the Michigan State kid that wasn't ready to play at that moment, and that moment was too big for him at that time. And so, and he didn't play. He played well last year, but he does have. I'm a Derek Carr fan. Now, Derek has had a couple of injuries, and he hasn't gotten over the hump. I don't know if I blame that all on Derek, but I will say this, that if I'm a Raiders fan, I like that he's coming in with a chip on his shoulders. That's how Tom Brady lives his life. That's how Russell Wilson has lived his life. That's how Aaron Rodgers lives his life. And now that you drafted Jordan Love and all of that, that chip's going to get even bigger now, dude. And a guy like that is already a Hall of Famer, you think he doesn't play with a chip on his shoulders? He does. They all do. Michael Jordan did it. Steve Young, I'm sure, had that chip on his shoulders, sitting on the bench, waiting for that moment. And then when he got it, he took advantage of it. So if I'm a Raiders fan, I'm happy about that, okay, that I got a quarterback that 7 years in understands that he hasn't accomplished anything as a team, which is true. But there's a lot of players that haven't accomplished anything as a team, and they're making good money, and they put up decent stats, and they're happy with that. They're content with that. And I think that if you're a Raiders fan, you have a quarterback that's not content is good. The guy that thinks, well, no, I played well, it's all the people around me is the problem. That doesn't help, and especially from that position. That position, you need to always demand more from yourself, expect more from yourself, and your job is to elevate. While maybe you've put up stats, maybe you haven't done a good enough job to get the best out of other people around you. And I got to say, I like the fact that he has that Rodney Dangerfield type of attitude. Hey, I get no respect. I like that. I think it's, like I told you, you can point at some of the best players in the history of the game, dude. You think Larry Bird didn't play with some kind of motivation? There's a reason why these guys are as great as they are, because they convince themselves that you don't believe in them, even though you may. Tom Brady right now, he has this thing like he's been disrespected to the max, and he wants to go out and prove it. And it's not just Belichick. Some people, he probably thinks people in New England think he's done. He probably thinks people around the NFL, well, he's lost it. He won't be the same guy. Can he hold up all that? He creates all of that narrative for himself, and that becomes motivation. So I like to hear that from Derek Carr. I don't care about the Raiders. I don't care if they lose every game, to be honest with you. I'm just glad they built a stadium in Vegas so I can go to Vegas with the Dolphins to go see them kick their ass. That's all I'm saying.
Hopefully between Christmas and New Year's.
Well, it depends on the virus, but yes.
I'm not counting on it, but,
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay. Clifton Wellman goes, BLM sucks, and I'm a black man. Yeah, see, that's the problem there. You're thinking about the organization. When I say Black Lives Movement, I'm not thinking about the organization and any politics that might be involved with that. I just think about human beings. That's the difference between me and a lot of people out there. You know, you politicize things. And I know that people that have been tied to that organization, there are certain things that they don't like that they've done. Some people defend it. Some people go against it. I don't care about that, dude. I just care about my black brothers and sisters. That's all I'm worried about. You know what I mean? I'm not worried about an organization. I'm just worried about human beings being treated fairly. And that organization really has nothing to do with it. Okay, I know that they have their own agenda and all of that, but I'm just talking about human beings. That, to me, is what the BLM is. It's about human beings, not about an organization. That's just me, okay? But that's kind of the way I view this, Clifton. I don't view BLM as an organization, is what I do. So when I am for, helping the LGBT community, I'm talking about the human beings that create the LGBT community. When I'm talking about anti-Semitism, I'm talking about all of my Jewish brothers and sisters that have to deal with anti-Semitism every single day. Not any organization that's in charge of it, or for the LGBT community, or for the black. I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about the politics. I don't want to get tied up in the politics. I tell you guys all the time with that. That's why I don't care about Democrats or Republicans. I see the negatives in both. I see how both parties are all screwed up. That's why I voted for Republicans and I voted for Democrats, because I kind of end up voting for the lesser of two evils every time I vote. It's not because I choose a side. I'm trying to vote for what I think is best for all Americans. You know what I mean? And all Americans is the black community. All Americans is the gay community. All Americans is our Jewish brothers and sisters. You know what I'm saying? That, to me, is what I'm fighting for, not an organization. Alexa V, the president, is chiming in with a little super chat. Thank you, Alexa. Appreciate it. She says, gonna sack Josh and Hi-O and Bill. There we go. Governor DeSantis and Scott trading barbs over Florida's unemployment fiasco. I don't like either guy, to be honest with you. I think DeSantis is a freaking clown. He's just a hair under the idiot in Seattle that allows autonomous zones. A lot of our leadership is all screwed up. It's not just the president. It's not just our governor. It's not just the people in Seattle. It's not the clown in California. I mean, it's been mishandled on both sides of the fence. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things. What can I tell you? I know that people are going to make mistakes. Look at Cuomo and forget about the politics. New York screwed up like crazy at the beginning, right? But now, after the screw-ups, they got it right and they figured it out, and they're taking it to they're going to even more extremes. I don't know if you saw what New York is doing now. They have traced a lot of their cases, the few cases that they have now, but they're tracing them all to people out of state that are coming in. So now they're going to have people at their borders to track these people that are coming into their state, and because they're going to try to figure out ways of limiting it coming back in to New York. And if you look at their cases, they're minimal compared to us. Whereas we had the pandemic, And then we never learned from it. We brought the numbers down, and then we opened back up again, and now the numbers are the worst in the world. Now, and that shows me poor leadership. Look, dude, everybody screwed up with this. Everybody. Democrats, Republicans, medical professionals. Nobody knew enough about this virus at the beginning. But as you know and as you learn, then that's when you're supposed to adjust and get better. But here in Florida, we keep making the same mistakes. In Texas, they keep making the same mistakes. In California, they keep making the same mistakes. And so the cases are exploding. In Georgia, morons too, keep making the same mistakes. And it's like, you know what you have to do. Why aren't you doing it? And in New York, they were the first that got hit hard. And then they said, it's over. This is what we're going to do. And they took a hardline approach. And look what's gone on with them. So I give them credit for learning. Europe got bombarded. Spain, Italy, all these places. And now they brought it all down again. And they've controlled it. And they can have soccer, and they're starting to get back to normal again because they've controlled the virus. We have had poor leadership on both sides of the fence. They have not handled it the right way. They have screwed everything up. That's it. That's all it is. Hate to say it, but that's just the way it is. And if you want to politicize it and, because you're a Republican and you think the Democrats are the only ones that screwed up and you're a Democrat because you think only the Republicans are screwed up, you're dead wrong. Everybody has contributed to this problem. The Democratic mayor in Portland allowing all that rioting every single night. Are you kidding me, bro? That you're helping spread the virus there, and you're allowing crime to take place every day. Where's that good leadership, dude? Where's that good leadership? You know what I mean? It's just, it's bad leadership everywhere. And DeSantis is one of the biggest clowns that we have in this country. But that's fine. He has assured himself that he will not get elected again. Just like Trump. Trump will get his ass out by a bum. You know what I mean? Because Biden is nothing. And by the way, this whole thing is set up perfectly for Biden. Less communication, less time he's out in front of people to make mistakes and just say stupid things and step all over his words. So, and then he allows Trump to just bury himself every single day with stupid things that he says every single day. And so then because Trump runs his mouth and is going to tweet, he's going to bury himself and keep doing dumb things. And Biden stays quiet in his basement. He ends up winning it by default. Not that he's going to be any good, but at least he's not the evil person that this guy is. That's the only benefit out of it. That's it.
If his people allow him to debate Trump, get on that stage and have those 3 debates they're supposed to have, they're idiots.
There has to be one debate. There has to be, Bill.
Not going to be a good look for him.
Okay, I know that.
I've seen some interviews.
Biden's terrible. Biden's terrible, dude. Biden's terrible.
Not good.
But
he needs to just.
There'll be one. There'll be one, and they'll prep him as much as possible to try to prop him up there to make him look. Try to make him look.
In the Democratic debates, he looked bad. It's not. It's not a good.
It's not that he looks bad, bro. He is bad.
He's not worse than the other guy.
The other guy's a terrible human being.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
They're both bad politicians. They're both going to be terrible for the country. But the other guy's just evil. He's a racist.
Hey, and listen, you know why the state of Florida, we do what we do? Because we must be first at being the worst. First worst.
Yep.
We must be first.
Yep, you're right. Speaking of all of this, what's it called? Aaron Donald for the Rams. I love honesty, okay? I know some people don't appreciate honesty at times, and because they don't want to hear the truth, right? And that happens to a lot of people, that when they have to deal with honesty, it's something that they want to tune off because it gets in the way of their reality. And I've told you many times, as much as I love football and I want to see all 16 weeks of football, I want to see the playoffs, I want to see the Super Bowl. I'm really excited about watching the Dolphins get better this year. They're not going anywhere, but just to watch them take that next step, maybe possibly see Tua play sometime in the second half of the season, those kind of things. There's a lot of things to look forward to with the Dolphins, just for developmental purposes. I'm not getting any crazy about any kind of big accomplishments, but just the progress, because I get excited about that. I'm looking forward to it, right? But Aaron Donald was asked about football in COVID, wearing a mask that they've created and trying to stay away from it. Here's brutal honesty from an NFL player.
I ain't tried. I honestly, I probably won't even put that on. I need air when I'm out there running around and breathing with the long drives and stuff. So I feel like we out there, we playing up close. There's nothing you can really do to, if a guy got it and I tackle a guy, then I probably got it because he's gonna be sweating and spitting and slobbering all in my face. So hopefully you guys are just doing what they need to do. And I feel there's not that shield. They say it worked with. I don't really think it would.
He's right. It's not going to work. And like he said, he has to breathe. You know what I mean? And when he says, "Oh, a guy's on top of me," he's going to be sweating and breathing on me. And so he's resigned to the fact that he's going to play a sport that there's a good chance his opponent will have COVID and he'll get it because he has no choice. And that's basically you can protect yourself, try to do it as much as possible, but to expect in that environment to not end up with it, it's almost impossible. I mean, look at hockey. Hockey has got a boatload of contact, but they're in a bubble. Everybody's tested. Everybody's controlled. There's nobody going out for wings at a strip club, right? There's nobody going off to parties. There's nobody going out with their IG models. That's what's going to happen in football. There's going to be an IG model. She's going to see number 47 on the field. She likes him. She's going to look for his IG account. She's going to DM him. He's going to look at her picture. He's going to go, whoa. Because he's 25 years old. He's got a boatload of money. He's got a nice crib. And he's got a beautiful babe that's reaching out to him. What would you do? 25, you're invincible, you got a ton of money, you're playing in the NFL. The last part, you're going to go out with her because that's what we all do. That's natural, that's instincts for men, okay? It might not be for Tim Tebow, it might not be for Russell Wilson, but there's only a couple of those guys. The rest of the guys that got money, they're young, they're famous, and those IG models reach out and she's got COVID. She doesn't know it, because she's young and beautiful, and it's not affecting her right now. She's when you got it, but you...
asymptomatic.
Asymptomatic, there you go. She's asymptomatic. She doesn't know.
I was going to say, she's full of cooties? Is that what you're saying?
She's got them cooties. She's got them cooties. So it's Common and... Tiffany Haddish are they're going out now, and Tiffany was asked, "Hey, what happened? We're in COVID, and you're going out with Common," and she goes, "Don't worry, we both tested each other for everything, and yes, we're effing," just like that. So there you go. Tiffany Haddish and Common are a couple. All the way through now. They've been quarantining and doing everything else together. So, but again, now those are two adults, but I'm just saying, in football, this is going to happen. Aaron Donald knows it. And it's almost like the attitude that you got to have. I mean, in that sport, you're going to end up with it, man. I guarantee you're going to end up with it. And he has the right attitude, sadly, but it's the right attitude. Lisa says, not a fan of Cuomo here in New York, but like you said, screwed up in the beginning, did some questionable things, but he got it together now. We're doing 100% better than we were. DeSantis is a tool. Yeah. There's no doubt. You can't say Cuomo is not doing the right thing now. Yeah. I mean, but again, everybody screwed up. Everybody at the beginning got this wrong. If you're getting it wrong, that's pretty ignorant. Okay? Think about it. That's like, you got on a horse that's really wild. It bucked you off. You've never ridden a horse before. Then you get back on again, and it kicks you off. You shove your shoulder against a pole or whatever, and you dislocate it. And a week later, you want to ride the horse again. Well, then, dude, and you end up with a broken forehead. You got what you deserved. You're an idiot. You know you can't ride the horse. You know it kicks you off. You want to keep doing it? Well, that's your fault. That's the worst part. Watching Texas and California and Florida consistently up when you know that what you're supposed to do, and you did it before and you brought it down, and yet you keep doing it, that shows you ignorance. Whereas in New York, they screwed up royally at the beginning, and then they fixed their problem, they figured it out, and they've attacked it. That's called actually educating yourself and then learning from it and then actually doing it. And that's what they've done in New York, and that you have to give them credit for that. Okay?
There's one state that I've been watching, obviously having personal interest. My sister, my brother-in-law, my niece is there. Tennessee, man. Tennessee has creeped up into the top 15. They have slowly. Oh, yeah,
that's because they keep doing stupid things, probably.
And my sister told me, because they're in like this place, Saudi Daisy, which is out of Chattanooga. And she said it's more about the cities, but where we're
Nashville
at,
and all that,
everybody, they're responsible. She said everybody wears masks. Everybody makes sure they keep their space. And she said a lot of it has to do with the fact that most of where we're at, it's family.
Right.
Kids, and everybody taking care of each other. They, kind of community. We're together in this.
Right.
And you know what? That's what it is, bottom line. It's about, do you care about your fellow man, the other person?
And again, if you're screwing up now, at this point, after everything you should know, I can't help you anymore.
We need a chisel and a hammer, man, to break into your head, because
it's like,
you're just hard-headed.
Right.
You're hard-headed.
Right. And you're just tooling for the other guy. That's all it is. Well, what can I tell you? Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to wrap it up here on the show. Actually, we went over 3 hours today, right?
Yes, we did. And I would just like to say that standard of at least 145-minute segment, you've been on for 54 minutes straight, bro.
54 minutes straight. All right. That's not bad.
Good job.
That's not bad. Let's see. Anything else here on the both candidates are garbage. I don't know if I'm even going to vote. Well, John, you should vote for somebody. You should vote. Hey, there have been times that I've voted for one of the two candidates, and it's not like I'm convinced, but I'm just picking the lesser of the two evils that I think.
Firm believer.
So whoever you think is the best one out of the two, John, I say you should vote at least.
You got to vote if you're gonna have a voice to complain or say whatever. You have to vote, right? To have that. If you don't, then you can't complain.
Yep. Clifton Wellman says, sorry, Big O, missed everything you said. Had to step away. I'll watch it later. If a group uses a name, then to destroy another group, like the nuclear family, that's just like SAP. Exactly. Yep. I'm with you there. All right, we got to wrap it up. We first of all, let's thank our super chatters for chiming in. As always, Julius305, by the way, got a super chat in. He says, come on, Bill, pick up the phone lines. They're slammed again. So there you go. So
I only have two hands, man.
Julius305, thank you, my brother. Appreciate you chiming in a couple times on super chatting. Alexa V, Dougie Fresh, Weapons X United, who always sends in like this odd number. You're amazing. Kenneth Cleveland, man of 1,005 holds. All of you out there for tuning in, watching, viewing, listening, texting, tweeting, emailing, however it is. You support us and our amazing sponsors like the great people here at Toyota of Hollywood. We thank you as always. We just got another super chat in from Ray Grulong, and Josh sent in another one. Awesome show. Thank you, Josh.
We want information.
Who are you?
I'm a go-getter.
All the way.
Dumbass.
Soup. None than never. Ian from Brooklyn sends in another one. He says, stick and stay. Great show. You know, if I had 25 minutes of commercials per hour, then I probably could stay on for 6 hours because I would have material to stretch out for 6 hours. I don't know if I have any more material.
And there still would be stuff that would fall on the cutting room floor.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. I do have a couple here that I still didn't get to. You
I'm
know?
not surprised.
Yeah, I do have a little soccer tonight. Orlando and Minnesota. Orlando City, by the way, is favored by 1.5 goals in that one. The over and under, I told you yesterday, was 2.5 to go over, and the score was 2-1, so you would have won. Again, go over 2.5 today on the bet for the MLS. Okay, so just on the MLS side, I've done really, really well on my suggestions.
How much money have you made?
That's between
You
us. We thank Steve Ostrov, all the great people out there. Herbie Lopez is out here, man, ready to take care of you. All the phenomenal people here at 1841 North State Road 7 out here at Toyota of Hollywood. We'll see you tomorrow from Craig's Inn Acura. Be good out there.